Veterans Memorial.
To learn more about this meaningful project, visit nvvmf.org. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. You just crossed him over. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
It's the crossover.
Hello.
What up, John?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, this is new. We've never done this before.
We haven't done this crossover. We have not.
Oh, yeah, you're usually right here.
I'm usually here when John's gone.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But now we're just doing all kinds of crossover stuff because apparently
COVID is back.
90% of the building is
folks.
sick. How does this happen, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, we had a party.
Exactly. But we didn't have this kind of problem during the pandemic when it was at its peak.
We wore masks.
We were very careful during the pandemic.
Well, we weren't even here.
That's true. That's true. But we weren't going. I wasn't going anywhere back then.
How about this, guys?
This is turning out to be the greatest decision of my life.
To not go to the work party?
Not going to this work party.
We got free food and drinks, so that was pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, great. And 90% of the staff is
and free
on their
COVID.
deathbed.
And free COVID. That's
My
true.
test said negative this morning, by the way.
There you go.
So we went from John and Josh
Mm-hmm.
in the middays to John and Josh in the afternoon.
In the afternoons,
How
that's
about that?
right.
What about that?
Yeah, we added an H.
Yep.
That's all we did. Because he's
right.
he's an H-less boy.
I know, he's H-less.
Mm-hmm.
Is your given birth certificate name Jonathan?
It is not. It is just Jon.
Oh, wow. That's a rarity, right?
Well, my uncle John, same way.
Oh, really?
You have I also have an Uncle John who has an H.
But mine doesn't have an H.
Wow.
So, see?
You guys are like the same person.
We're
mirror
Bizarro
images.
World.
We're mirror
Bizarro
images
World.
here. Yeah.
I am Bizarro World John Schreiner.
Oh.
John Schreiner is Bizarro World.
Josh,
John
keep it on the
Schreiner.
Dr. Phil network.
Nah, we're turning.
You call men's basketball on the radio. I call women's
He calls
basketball
women's
on the radio.
basketball.
One
on the
for
radio.
Creighton,
One-
one for UNL.
Yeah, you guys both call a team in Omaha.
We're mirror images, man.
We are. This is amazing.
Which one of you came from a different dimension? When did this happen?
Well, John's
don't know.
older.
I don't know.
I was going to say the same thing.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
NBA TV
Did,
marquee matchup.
Maybe John Bishop traveled back in time and he's actually future me.
Maybe.
From the mirror dimension.
It could be.
Okay, so I went for a run one time. I got a quarter.
Yeah!
It's a part of the story. It's a part of the story. So I went for a run, and I put. Oh, nice.
We need the sound effect.
All right. Right.
Put it in
There
the
we
slot.
go.
So I'm out on the trail, and I run by this guy, and I swear he looked like me, 20, 30 years older, and I was like, what if?
You ran into Munchin?
What if? Nice.
Manuchin?
I was like,
What
what
was
if?
his name?
Mnuchin.
Mnuchin.
Steve Mnuchin.
Yeah.
I was like, what if that's me? And I wanted to go back on this trail, and I ran by myself. and 30. I had that thought for a good 5 minutes on this run. And it's like, so wait, why would I do that though? And then I was asking myself, why would I want to travel back just to see myself on this trail? I did like that trail. I don't run on that one anymore.
Isn't it universally agreed if you meet your past self, then the universe explodes?
Yes.
I don't think, well, that's if you go, oh yeah, I guess so.
I mean, we've never.
Or you
But
touch
we
them.
didn't talk though. It was just, we went by each other,
Hey,
you know?
You know how I know time travel is not possible in my lifetime?
Because we would have stopped something from
I've
happening?
never come back and told myself not to do all the stupid things that I did.
Yeah, it's true. Good point.
Unless you did at one point and then you didn't do them, and then it changed the timeline, and now it's just kind of veered off into its own timeline.
That's not how that works.
That's how other
Come
dimensions
on.
work. Yeah, that's how it works.
Josh, did you wonder if the person that
Me,
the older
future
you
me,
was looking at you thinking, damn, that guy's ugly?
I didn't think that. He probably was like, wow, what a handsome individual.
I can't believe you met the successful murder cult leader version of
Again,
yourself.
didn't meet, just ran by, did a little wave. Hey, see you later. I didn't talk to him. I was listening to a podcast.
Well, yeah, but don't you wonder if he was thinking the same thing you were thinking, that it looked like a younger version
That
of
would
yourself?
be, yeah. Well, then he would say, wow, what a handsome individual.
You think he was like, I remember when I only listened to podcasts at 2 times speed.
Yeah, in the future, they're probably listening at quadruple speed.
Well, in the future, they're just
Gotta
injecting
get
it into your brain. You don't even listen to it.
That's
You
the
just,
dream.
Oh, you got the Musk chip.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go, John. Just send me a podcast.
It's, you don't even get to listen to the podcast. It just
It just-
alters
it's
your
just
brain so
there.
you have the memory of
Yeah,
already
you
having
have the
listened
memory
to
of
it.
listening
absorb
to it.
everything.
You just absorb it, and then that's
That's
it.
Game over.
Be
Wow.
over.
I bet that'll happen at some point, right? Like people won't
that's gonna
watch or
be-
listen to things anymore or read books.
Oh,
It'll
I'm
just
sure
be
it'll
like,
probably
hey,
happen.
Moby Dick.
So can I tell you about, John, you might appreciate this. My the invention that I really want to make,
Sure.
it's for specifically for broadcasters, right?
Okay.
Augmented reality glasses, but it puts like all of your play-by-play charts in the glasses so that when you look at a player, like their stats come up and their height and weight, right? So it's
It like
tied
pops
to them.
above them almost like a
Yeah,
video game.
yep.
It'd be nice because you wouldn't have to look down at the charts.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, oh, I wanted that. There was one
This
thing
is
I
my invention.
wrote down. It's a good invention.
I'm trying to think of how that would.
Like the Google glasses, remember?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of how that would affect me, because what would probably happen is I would then not even do
Any prep at all?
any prep at all. Well, I guess
You have to
if you
have to
I
do
guess
the
if
prep
you
to
had to
put
do
it
the prep,
into the.
then that would be acceptable.
Yeah.
You would
Because-
enter it into some kind of app
Yeah.
that tied it to the player.
Right. So you're still, because that's my philosophy on prep. It's like studying for a test.
Exactly.
And that's why, and there are people out there who will sell their prep services to you.
Yes.
Which
I would never buy.
Which defeats the entire purpose of prep, because
You writing
You
the
can't-
stuff down helps you memorize it.
exactly me inputting the data helps me remember it and recall it so that it's there on the sheet so I can quote it verbatim. But the trigger in the memory is if so-and-so hits like his third 3 and he hasn't had a three-point game in, 80 months or whatever, then if you've inputted that data, then you can look, but you've already got it. And you know to go to
And
that.
you know right where to look, right where
Yeah.
you typed it in.
I mean, I've wanted to, because the first time I was ever approached with something like that, A, it blew my mind, and B, I wish I would have said, do you realize how this defeats the purpose?
And yet people do it.
You can't study for a test for me.
You know,
Because I have to take
Al
the
Michaels
test.
has somebody make his charts for him.
See, I can't.
That's crazy.
He does.
See, and
I can't do that.
I've been a spotter for probably a half dozen like people on actual television before, and there have been a couple of them, for sure. One that I remember where I could see at the very bottom of the chart it said like such and such dot whatever, or an email address, a phone number.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, interesting. So this person uses that type of service. Now, they also had a bunch of handwritten notes all over it, so it wasn't that they were going in completely blind. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons, because especially, I'll do a game where I haven't seen the other team before. And, so I'm just kind of putting stuff together, and it's like, oh, interesting. That person went to so-and-so, and I find that out on my own rather than just reading over the chart, as it's given. I would
listen,
never want to do that. That sounds horrible.
We have a lot of great sports information people. I personally think Rob Anderson at Creighton's the best I've ever worked with.
That Creighton department's real good, top to bottom.
But there's, and they'll look up a lot of great numbers that I will use a lot. But there's occasionally the things that I am individually curious about that I will research on my own, that that I like to incorporate in my broadcast.
Yep.
And so if someone is doing that for me, it just feels like you're not doing your job.
I would just like to see my charts like in 3D space. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you just want them above the head.
Yep.
So yeah, I think
inputting
your
all the
invention,
info still.
your invention would really come in handy
for football, especially.
Well, for football, but it
Oh,
would
man,
really
yeah.
come in handy for, quickly identifying, especially players that you're not familiar with.
Right.
Right. At first time you've seen
What have
them.
you have a last name like? Okay, so football. So if you have a last name that pops up above 86,
Well, if they just did like
You
the
know?
Madden thing.
and you're like, oh, Moss has the ball because you see Moss.
Yep.
Right.
across,
Right.
Then yeah, I like it.
I think
John,
it'd be
it's
cool.
a great idea.
It is a
think
great
it'd be cool.
idea.
Good idea, John.
Now
So
make it
one of the
happen.
things,
The only thing now is, can you make them look cool enough so you don't look like a giant dork? So you're just not like
no.
Yeah, we don't need a
that's-
Google
That's not
Glass.
possible. It's just going to be, you're going to look like a nerd.
Okay.
Speaking of being interested in stats, I was interested today. One of my topics late in the show was about Brock Purdy. And so I was just wondering, like, is he just way better than anybody knew? Like, what happened? Why didn't, he's this good. Why didn't they win more at Iowa State?
Mhm.
Like, was Iowa State just really terrible around him and Matt Campbell's actually not that good of a coach? They just had Brock Purdy.
Mhm.
So I looked up Matt Campbell's with Brock Purdy and without Brock Purdy. Right? Because like
Oh, yeah.
you, I'm
Yep.
curious about these
Yeah.
weird statistical
Yeah.
things, right? So with Brock Purdy, Matt Campbell was, I think he was like 31-20, won 60% of his games.
Okay.
Solid.
He coached 37 games without Brock Purdy.
So basically the exact same sample size.
Yep.
And this is
Well, I guess a few.
this is going back to
to his start of his tenure at Iowa State.
Okay,
so this
so-
is all Iowa State.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Right?
All Iowa State. So he's had 37 games without Brock Purdy.
Yep.
And 50 with him, you said?
51.
51.
So basically a season less without
Yep.
Brock
It-
Purdy.
it's
than-
exactly a season.
Yeah.
But there's enough data there.
Yeah. So
How
what's
many
the-
how many of those 37 do you think they won without Brock Purdy?
So
Josh
see-
Hodson got it right on.
Really? So Purdy started, real quick, I just want to talk back the years. He started in 2021, 20, 19. And did he start in 18
Yep.
as well? Okay. So he started 4 years. So that means there are 5 years, one on the front end or on the back end and 4 on the front. Or
No,
three on
he's
the
got
front?
he's got 3 years without
3 on
Purdy.
the front. Okay.
2 on the front, 1 on
Two
the
on the
back.
front, one on the back.
And what's the
So-
question? Winning percentage? Or
so-
No, how many?
30
Out of 37 games he's coached without Brock Purdy, how many did they win?
12.
Close.
18,
15.
15.
He's
Right in the middle of that.
15-22 without
So he was
Brock Purdy.
better.
31-20, 60% winning percentage.
Mm-hmm.
15-22, 41% winning.
Well, you know the
percentage.
thing, John,
He's a winner.
and John, is that we view him a different way because his last year at Iowa State wasn't what we thought it was going to be.
Right,
going
because they had
in.
the elevated
Yep, the hype.
expectations.
Yeah, but if let's pretend that he goes into the NFL, that his career's just moved up 1 year and he goes after 2020. I think we're viewing him maybe we're less surprised
Sure.
when he got off to this type of start.
It was almost more striking that in the 4 years with Purdy, they never finished lower than 4th in the Big 12. In the 3 years without him, they finished tied for 4th, 9th, and 10th.
Wow.
I mean,
so
the guy is a winner.
my thing is, like, maybe Brock Purdy was just better than we thought, and Iowa State actually wasn't that good.
Well, and that's the thing
Yeah.
too that really helps him as this year has unfolded. Like there are rookies that have experience in college, but that guy started for 4 seasons. It's not even just like
Yes.
like Mac Jones. He was basically a starter for 1 year
Yep.
at Alabama, and he was pretty solid as a rookie in the NFL. But he started for 1 season. Bryce Young, he's going to go into the pros with 2 seasons as a starter, but Purdy had 4. So he had seen boots on the ground. He'd had a lot of experience.
And I don't remember who wrote the article in The Athletic, but said that, like, look, that might have hurt him because you can see all of his warts
All
on
of his
film.
flaws.
A guy that
Yep.
starts for 1 season, you don't get to see everything he has to offer.
No,
Yep.
that's true.
Exactly.
Isn't it crazy though that because usually that last pick of the draft, and we, part of it is we've put the term Mr.
Mr.
Irrelevant
Irrelevant.
on it.
It's always the most famous 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant.
Exactly. Unless there's a Tom Brady in that particular class, but the point is, they could have gone in 100 different directions,
Yep.
right? Because with the last pick, they already had a drafted quarterback that they were going to go to, but then they thought, well, we're going to need a backup for him because I'm guessing Jimmy G's not going to be hanging
He's
around,
not here.
which he ended up doing. But in the moment, if they go any other direction, the course
Are
of
they
this
are they
season,
in this spot right now?
no,
Yeah.
They're
I don't
probably
think
picking
so.
a guy up off the street.
or maybe they pick up a Baker Mayfield, for example.
Possibly.
But what do they give up to get him? I guess they didn't have to give up anything because he was cut.
He got cut.
But do the 49ers go out and make a trade?
It's possible.
Because the injury happened early enough. The injury to
Trey Lance was in week 2.
Was in week 2, but the injury to
Jimmy G.
Garoppolo was
a little over halfway through the season, right? Like week 11?
Early November.
It was the Dolphins game, right?
It was the Dolphins game.
Right.
Week 11, week 12, somewhere in there.
So, man.
The Dolphins were 8-3 going.
Everything is different.
Sure were.
Everything is different. And who knows? Seattle probably wins the division. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, and here, I want to read this comment from Matt. He says, if you've seen all the wide open receivers Purdy has to hit in San Francisco, I'd want to see him next year to make any major judgments. And that's very fair because obviously if you put him in, we talked about yesterday, if he's at Dallas, they're not going to have the same type of success. But I will say this in Purdy's camp, Jimmy G got to play with those players too. Maybe not McCaffrey because McCaffrey had barely been a part of
Jimmy G has a great winning percentage.
Yes, he does.
But he's never done this before.
Yes, he does. And it's taking, sure. Have the 49ers had some open receivers? Absolutely. More against Seattle, I think, than they had against Dallas. But like the first throw that he had to Kittle in the first half, it was about the only good big play that they had in the first half. Kittle was pretty well covered.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to make the throw just right. Because if it's a little bit off, it could be intercepted or it's going to be incomplete. So he had to make, so he is, maybe the thing about Purdy is he hasn't had to do as much with people like in his face.
Yes.
Right?
He's been well protected.
He's been well protected or he's been able to roll out. I think Dallas did a smart job of the way they forced him to roll to his left because it made it a lot harder for him to reset and throw, which is why, again, these matchups this weekend, I don't have a dog in the hunt. I've never looked forward to a conference championship weekend more than this one.
Really?
It's
when
impressive.
you look at the matchups and you look at
I can give you my favorite conference championship weekend ever. It's not this one. No, part of that's depression, but when the 49ers played the Seahawks, the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and the Patriots played the Broncos, I was so jacked. I thought that those were easily the 4 best teams, and these are 2. But those were, superstar quarterbacks, and I love that 49ers-Seahawks rivalry in 2013. Oh, I love that
we
year.
had seen Broncos-Patriots before. We had seen Seahawks-49ers before. With this, you've got the rematch with Cincinnati and Kansas City, but because of the intrigue of Mahomes, the fact that Burrows and Cincinnati now are all of a sudden getting all the love and the Chiefs aren't, and then you've got the drama from last year. We've got, Eli Apple has been, spouting off this week at the Bills, but people forget last year he did it to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have motivation. They're at home. The Bengals don't look like the better team. The line's been bouncing all over the place. And with San Francisco and Philly, you've got teams that
they haven't played yet.
They haven't played yet.
That's definitely the unique part.
And they have strengths kind of similar to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They both rush the passer really well. They both run the ball really well, but in different ways. I love it. I think this is great. And I'm not stressed out about who's winning either one of those games like I was last year.
The other thing that I found interesting and talked quite a bit this afternoon about was 3 of the 4 teams left in the playoffs have quarterbacks on rookie contracts, and the other team has the best quarterback in the league.
Yep.
So it's a good study on how you win in the NFL right now.
Well, and that's why, one of the big things that the Bills are going to be kicking themselves about is, this year Josh Allen's deal I think was like $16 million, and next year it's 40. And so it's like the advantage that they had, Dak Prescott's his contract super low. The advantages that those teams had, they're going away very, very quickly. And so that's why these teams, especially the Eagles, have to be feeling great with Jalen Hurts on that deal right now. Oh my gosh. That he's performed at an MVP level.
Mm-hmm.
It's all how fun it. Wow. It is so fun.
It is.
All right,
Eagles.
guys,
it's not
have
fun.
a good show.
Thanks, John.
Yep. There he is. John Schreiner,
See you
ladies
tomorrow.
and gentlemen. He'll be filling in for Connor tomorrow because half of our lineup's on the DL. We're like Nebraska basketball right now. Everyone's hurt. Hopefully we perform a little better today.
I hope so. And hopefully they do tonight.
They could.
Unless one of us picks against them in bet of the day.
I don't know what you're talking about. We got a busy lineup today because Sip's going to join us, Mitch Holtis. Scott Dochterman triggered some Husker fans, which is going to lead us into a conversation.
That doesn't sound like Husker fans.
Not at all. 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone wants you to win Gary's booty. Whoa, wait, what? Win $100 or more every weekday on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Listen during the 6 and 8 o'clock hours for Gary and Nick to give you their stat of the day. Then during the 7 and 9 a.m. hours, listen for the cue to call, know the stat, and win a buttload of cash. Answer it correctly, and Gary's booty gets even bigger. Yep, we'll keep adding $100 to the booty bank till the correct answer's given on air. Win your share of Gary's booty on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley with 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Wednesday afternoon forecast will include mostly cloudy skies with temperatures falling from the mid to lower 20s. Northwest winds will make it feel like the single digits. For tonight, partly cloudy conditions, morning low of 10. For your Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy conditions, high of 28. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KTV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection, plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street, next to Covey's.
Welcome to the Rib Shack, where Miss Jackie, voted best female pitmaster, prepares the true Southern taste of down-home barbecue and soul food. The Rib Shack was first established in St. Louis and is now in Omaha. The Rib Shack Smokehouse offers the slow-cooked St. Louis ribs, smoked wings, brisket, pulled pork, and fabulous sides. They even offer catering. Rib Shack on the southwest corner of 108th and Q Street, or on the web at ribshacksmokehouse.com. Rib Shack Smokehouse, bringing that unique Southern taste to Omaha.
Need a side hustle or career change? Now you can get certified to repair mobile devices in just 1 week. At the Metropolitan Community College Mobile Device Repair Academy, you can earn a national certification at our 1-week boot camp. Learn the skills you need to become certified and apply them during a 2-month internship. You may be eligible for special tuition funding. Classes start soon and space is limited. For more information or to enroll, visit mccneb.edu/mobile repair.
Your Omaha hockey team is back in action when they head to Western Michigan this Friday and Saturday. Pregame is at 5:30. Friday, puck drops at 6. It's UNO at Western Michigan this weekend on your home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
This edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone is proudly presented by Union Bank and Trust. The program starts now.
KOZN. Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
Not only do we have a busy program today, but it's also Dumb Debates.
Dumb Debates? People can send us Dumb Debates with the hashtag Dumb Debates.
Yes, they can.
That's pretty cool.
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
Or email.
I guess, on email too. Texting.
Yep.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
Welcome to the program. John, Josh, and Nick. That's weird.
What happened?
Well, the camera's not turning back on.
That's not good.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Click the turn camera on button.
Well, there's not a turn camera on button. No.
It's the button that says turn on camera.
I see what you mean. This one.
There you go.
Why would it do that?
Yep, there you go.
Why would it do that? All right, now we're back.
Boom.
The thing is, I had to run out into the other room to go hook up the computer to print out.
Get your charts.
World famous.
Get your charts, Look at that. We were just talking about it. We were just talking about charts in the crossover.
In color.
Mm-hmm.
In color.
And yeah.
Whoa.
My charts are in color.
Yeah. That way, now what sucks is in the Big East, it's like, what is it? Seven or 8 of the 11 schools have blue as their primary color, I think, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Let's see. St. John's doesn't. Providence doesn't.
St. John's, Providence, and that's it, right? Everyone else has blue.
So it's 9 out of 11.
It's crazy.
I like charts.
That's so funny.
That have a shade of blue as their primary color.
Yeah, which is easy for like.
There's no greens.
Yep.
You got a red, a black, and all the others are blue.
I assume,
no yellows. Well,
like
yellow's not usually a primary
It looks
color.
like we're similar in terms of like the numbers, or for you, it looks like your boxes where the numbers
Those
are.
just names, numbers, stats. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, background. Background information on players. Yep.
Names, numbers, stats.
The points per game, assists per game.
See, I get real stupid because in the middle of the summer when I'm bored,
free throw
I
percentage.
design stuff, so I have like official logos on there.
That's awesome.
That's cool,
John. Can I pick a bone with we probably have some SIDs listening to it. Why don't? And I know you go to a different stats page than I always do. You go to the official NCAA page, and I just need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Why do universities not give us assists per game? It blows my mind. I go to these sites and they have points per game.
Well, some
rebounds per game.
It depends on which.
But everyone that I use, because I go to Providence's website, Butler's website, Creighton's website, and no one does assists per game. It's assists. We want the average.
Well,
folks, we want the average.
No
offense, any SIDs
depending
who may or may not be listening.
Depending on the
service that they use.
Right. Depending on which because I think there's 2 different
companies.
Anyway, there is a printout where they do where most schools have the assist per game on the box score.
Yeah, it's very odd.
I like your charts, guys. I think it'd be fun to fill them out.
Yeah, it is. As John said in the crossover.
Mainly it's just updating.
Yep. Yeah. That's the nice part about it. This part of the season for Creighton is like sweet. I just update the points per game. And because now we're in January and almost February, very little variance. So it's just adding or subtracting a few tenths of a point here, maybe 2/10 of a rebound there, which is really nice.
It's dumb how cool that sounds to me. I like that.
I like it.
That's neat.
I think you have to enjoy the.
You want to learn about St. John's? There they are right there.
People talk all the time about process. Like you really have to care about the process. If you want the results that seemingly you want.
Mm-hmm.
I like the process of putting them together. I don't like the process of starting the charts, aka the first time I put together my soccer ones or even my basketball. Soccer ones, there's just so many more players. The first time stinks. After that, I really enjoy it. Because the first time you got to do it for both teams.
You don't have to update the scores that much, though.
There are a lot of
I have
times
to put in all the info about the players.
There are a lot of times where that's what I'll do in like September. While I'm watching football, is I will go in through once the schedule is released. Now, obviously, I know all the Big East teams are going to play, and I always know the Nebraska.
So you start setting up the bones for all your teams then.
Sure.
For all the opponents?
Sure.
Wow, that's a good idea. I should do that.
It's just one of those things you sit there and you might be watching like a college doublehead or college football Saturday or something. Nebraska's not playing, or there's not like a game where you're like, oh man, I got to watch this. But I got my 2 TVs going and it's on in the background and it's right there. All I have to do is look up if something exciting happens.
Right there.
And yeah, I'll start working on the bones. And Part of
because you don't have to do a million hours at one point.
Part of the guesswork is figuring out, because my charts, there's only room for 12 players on the first page.
So you got to figure out which of the 12 are actually.
So which of the 12 are going to make the first page?
And
I'm happy to say this year, I had a better hit percentage this year. I didn't have to go back in and make a lot of changes.
Awesome.
So
have you started doing your baseball stuff?
See, that's the thing.
Because the overlap of football or
yes,
basketball.
the overlap, it's tough to do. You're always in basketball season, and I have gone through a lot of different metamorphoses with my baseball charts. My basketball charts have been pretty consistent for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But baseball,
you changed things.
I've changed things up, Basketball is, I think, the easiest sport to prep for.
Dude, not a ton of players.
Because it's no more than 15 players, but in college, you're really only going 8 to 10 deep.
Yep. I think the stats that you use are very consistent.
They're very consistent.
You know what you want. You want, the 3-point shooting, the free throw shooting, the regular field goal.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, okay, sweet.
And right now, baseball's kind of going through this changeover of, OPS is more important now than the batting average and all this other
You're
going to
score a game anyway. So you're at a baseball game. You're going to score it personally. So it's like, okay, how do I want my charts? Like, I remember the first time that I produced a CWS and Kevin was there, and he'll have a lot of his baseball stuff on note cards. And so he'll have like the batter note card and he'll have the pitcher note card. And then he just flips through the note cards and that's how he does it. But he also keeps score. And so I remember when I did baseball, I've done it a few times and it's like, okay, or softball, I'll be doing some softball this year. And it's like, okay, how do I want to set this up? And yeah, I always kind of struggle. Whereas with basketball, it's like easy. I know exactly how I want it to look, how I want it to be set up, etc.
Yeah. So there you go. There's
talking charts.
There's talking inside baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But today, a lot of football, as usual on this show.
Nice.
Steve Sipple's coming up.
Oh.
Mitch Holtis.
What's up with Mahomes?
Mm-hmm. Apparently he practiced today. And Scott Dochterman of The Athletic, who covers Iowa, he did a mailbag this week that triggered Husker fans.
See, now I didn't see this. I missed this.
Well, and that's what has led to today's poll question that we will get into, inspired by Mr. Dochterman.
Awesome.
And also inspired by Mr. Sipple, because Mr. Sipple earlier this week in a column for On3 said that this is more of a reset, not a rebuild. Scott Dochterman today, when assessing all the teams' chances in the Big Ten West, said it was just a brief one-sentence deal.
It was a throwaway line.
Yeah, it was kind of a throwaway line that Nebraska was, quote, starting from scratch, to which some Husker fans took offense to.
Okay.
So we have asked you the question, which of these terms would you use to describe what kind of a job Matt Rule has in year one at Nebraska? Is it a rebuild? Is it a reload? Is it a reset? Is it starting from scratch? And we'll get you the results here in just a little bit. But it's also inspired by Sip, who also brought up the term reset.
Plus, I want to ask Sipple about summer, because he wrote something that I saved this last week because it blew my mind. And he had something to say about Major League Baseball games and how much he enjoys them that I think that you will like as well.
And that is your Roofery's starting lineup, powered by the Roofery's at John Higgins Weather Guard. Also, Dumb Debates. So a fun, new, exciting program for you. And we'll retweet the poll question for you here momentarily so you can vote if you haven't done so already. The zone deal this week is for Story's Coffee Company. They have 3 locations: Omaha, Gretna, or Western Nebraska, as Josh calls it, Midtown Crossing, 114th and Davenport. Story's Coffee serves premium coffee. We need to change that, by the way. It says 3 locations: Omaha, Gretna, Midtown Crossing, and 114th and Davenport. That's true. 4 locations.
That is 4.
I'm assuming the 114th and Davenport is the Omaha location. Just something I noticed.
Yeah,
See, I'm turning over a
Nick?
new leaf.
I don't know.
Last year, I would have just blasted it and said, who wrote this stuff? This
Nick,
is
you're
garbage.
an idiot.
This is stupid.
You're
and then
a
I'd
piece
make
of poop.
fun of it. I'd misread it intentionally. But this year, I'm like, maybe we could consider changing that. That was my New Year's resolution.
Wow, turning over a new leaf.
Anyway, you can get 5 $10 vouchers for only $25 to Story's Coffee. They go on sale this Friday at 1620thezone.com.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
back with John Higgins and the rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. I imagine there are a lot of people out there with really bad roofs waiting for the magic moment. When's the magic moment?
Depends on what type of roof you have. It depends on how old your roof is. I have a customer right now talking about waiting for that hailstorm. Now it's leaking. There's a time where you can't wait for that hailstorm forever.
When it comes time to replace your roof, your gutters, and siding, there's only one call to make. The rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot-around and overtime shows. The Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot-around and overtime shows are also presented by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, by Barry Law, by Union Bank and Trust, and by DJ's Dugout. Before and after each Creighton game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nebraska or Iowa attorneys, a partner men can count on. 13340 California Street, Suite 200, Omaha, Nebraska, 68154. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
My hope is that he forces me to not do this radio show anymore.
On 1620 The Zone.
M will join us here in just a little bit. And also Mitch Holtis, the voice of the Chiefs.
They're in the AFC Championship game again.
Oh, they are?
Fifth straight year.
I hadn't heard.
It's still, and I know I asked Mitch about this last week. It is still so crazy to me that when he joined us as a regular guest for the first time in 2015,
we used to make fun of him for the whole, oh gosh, if we could only host a playoff game. And now that's all they do.
Yeah,
They've never not hosted a playoff game since 2017.
So no,
or
are you ready
18?
for that? Because they lost in their first couple playoff games in 17 and 16. The last time they went on the road was the 2015 season when they played at the New England Patriots.
Good grief.
Yeah. So last time they went on
You
the
know
road
what
in the
it's time
playoffs.
for? Go on the road for a playoff game.
Yeah.
I need to find a shorter way.
They've had a couple because they haven't always been the 1 seed. You know, the year they won the Super Bowl, they were the 2, but Baltimore lost. So, you know, last year the Titans were the 1, the Titans lost. So they haven't had to go. But I think about that and how when we first had them on.
And don't you remember the
it was
time,
like we just want to go to the divisional round.
Remember when the Dolphins had to beat the Patriots?
Yes.
The last game of the season.
So they get a bye.
And and there was I can't remember the moment in the Dolphins game. I think they block a punt or something. And it happened at the same time that the Chiefs were trying to go
Kevin
for a score.
Harlan is calling
and
both
Harlan's
games
calling
at the
both
same
times,
time.
and Chiefs fans are having an orgasm.
Yeah.
I mean,
hell yeah.
At the same time?
At the same time.
yeah, it was
man.
amazing.
A menage orgasm.
It was amazing.
How did that happen? Where he had to call both games?
Well, because he knew the situation.
He wasn't. He was just calling it off the monitor.
Yeah, he was calling it off the monitor.
He was just like freaking out.
Right.
And Harlan used to be. He was the predecessor.
Mitch Holtis before Mitch Holtis.
And that was such a crazy moment. And to now think that they are the old guard. You know.
Yep.
Where it just. I've read this, and I referenced it a couple times last week. I read this article on The Ringer by a Chiefs fan, and the premise is kind of like, man, I miss when Mahomes was like new because we didn't really take him for granted.
Yeah.
And it was fun to read it because it put me back in the headspace of 2018 when he took over the NFL in a way so few players have taken over the NFL. Burrow is awesome. You know, Josh Allen is awesome. These guys have been Brock Purdy. The Brock Purdy story is cool. But what Mahomes did that first year, I don't really remember ever seeing a quarterback do it. It was incredible.
You know, we should have added something to Nick's list this week.
Oh, what did he do now? Or what didn't he do now?
A line movement sounder.
Oh!
The line has moved again.
Where's it at now?
So let us review. When it opened on Sunday, right after the Bengals beat the Bills, it was Chiefs by a field goal. It immediately got bet to Bengals -1 within minutes.
Yep.
The Sharps just jumped in and said, give me some of that Cincinnati.
Gimme.
Then as we pointed out, was it
yesterday? It was at 2.5.
Well, it
was a
moved,
5.5 point
right.
middle.
It moved to 2.5 points.
It moved.
I failed to mention during the program because later in the program it bumped back down to 1.5, and now that's our new line movement sounder. It's now back to Cincinnati -1.
So the news about Mahomes practicing has moved the line again.
Well, I want to know what moved it yesterday because it was 2.5.
Yeah, was there some people that thought he wasn't going to play?
Maybe, I don't know.
It's a good question.
There is a scenario where there's somebody out there who took the Bengals at +3,
and then took the Chiefs,
and then took the Chiefs +2.5.
They got 5.5 points.
Where if this is a 1-point game,
they're winners.
They're going to win both bets.
Winner, chicken.
They're going to win both bets.
And that's why we said it yesterday. The books will be rooting for the Chiefs
to win big.
To win by 3.
To win by at least
4 points.
At least 4 points.
Yep, 4 points, and they're good. They're sitting very pretty.
I have never, in my memory, and I'm not, this is a question for Michael Severe because he's Mr. Well, he's Mr. He's been following the lines forever. I
the
can't
lines,
remember.
not the Lions.
See the video?
I cannot remember. I didn't.
Somebody liked that yesterday. He sent me a screenshot. He was like, hey, have you seen this video? I was like, very funny, Michael. Well played.
I can't think of a conference championship game that has had this much violent line movement. It, like we pointed out yesterday, it doesn't happen in pro football. We see it in college occasionally. We certainly have seen it with Nebraska, right?
But where
we've seen some lines where Nebraska is maybe like a 8-point favorite, and then all of a sudden it falls to like 5.5 on game day. Yeah. It happens a little more.
Or like
in
Wisconsin's
college.
10. Now it's Wisconsin -14.
But the pros, man, because you're dealing with, the talent is more concentrated. The games are naturally tighter. And when you get to this point in the season,
everyone's betting on it.
And everyone's betting on it.
Because there's 2 games this weekend. You don't have 16.
So you got a lot more public money on these 2 games than you have all the public money that is out there on a regular Sunday, which is being spread across 16 games, is now concentrated down to 2.
Yep, and we only have 3 games to bet on.
And to have this kind of line movement.
Crazy.
And sure, a lot of it has to do with Mahomes.
Yeah,
a lot of it does. The uncertainty of Patrick Mahomes. But to still see it is
It's weird.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I look forward to Mitch, his update on Mahomes.
I do
what's
too.
Gonna happen there.
But coming up next, it's M. Stephen M. 007, License to Kill. Coming up next on Unsportsmanlike Conduct in 1620 The Zone.
Speaking of, everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. That line movement has been all over the FanDuel Sportsbook, whether it was the Chiefs opening as a favorite, getting to 2.5-point dogs yesterday, and right now, as we just talked about, it sits at Bengals -1. And new customers, you can bet on that game or the NFC Championship game this weekend with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with our promo code 1620, and then you are good to go. So whether it's a side, maybe you like Kansas City. As a home dog in the playoffs, are you serious? Maybe you like the Eagles or the 49ers. That line currently sitting at Eagles -2.5. The total. Prop bets galore. Maybe a Brock Purdy interception. Does it finally happen? Does he finally have a meltdown moment? Whatever it is, you put your money where your mouth is. And like I said, free bets back if you don't win with that promo code 1620.
And with the same game parlays, you get bigger payouts, especially if you really like a side. San Francisco fans, listen up. Right now, you can bet the 49ers plus the 2.5 and get a Deebo Samuel anytime touchdown. Doesn't have to be the first touchdown or the last touchdown, and anytime touchdown, that's going to pay you plus 324. That's better than 3-1 odds. You get that with the same game parlays on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Place that first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, by using our promo code 1620 with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash. Listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. The red-hot Omaha Maverick hockey team finished their 6-game homestand last Saturday by shutting out the Miami Redhawks 2-0. They hit the road this weekend with a 5-game win streak as they head to Western Michigan. Maverick men's basketball was unable to fend off South Dakota, who beat the Mavs 84-68 last Saturday. The Mavs fall to 3-6 in league action. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-730-4293, 800-730-4293. Free bottles for limited time. Call now, 800-730-4293, 800-730-4293.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
What makes DJ's Dugout Omaha's #1 sports bar? Where do I start? Nick Hanley here for my friends at DJ's. I just love the atmosphere and friendly staff at DJ's. The minute you walk in, those huge media walls just absolutely grab your attention. Man, the NFL playoffs have been awesome to watch at DJ's too. It's absolutely the place to gather with friends to watch the big game as well. Delicious food, great atmosphere. For me, it's got to be DJ's Dugout. Locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Sipple the snowflake is one old triggered soul with reading glasses sitting on his nose and takes that really blow. Sipple the snowflake deserves a mouthpiece to the face. He says LeBron's the GOAT and Steph will choke. Then he runs to his safe space. Hey, we gotta be careful here. He tells us when we speak, but when 10 games air in a day, he thinks that's too many. Oh, Sipple the snowflake says words like mature. He's a blogger now and an honor too, and also really old.
Steve Sipple of On3, HuskerOnline.com. He just told us he has to be off by the very specific time of 3:07, so we're going to have to do this interview at Josh's podcast listening speed, which is 1.5 times. Hello,
Double.
Sip. Good afternoon. How you doing?
That's really good and really, really annoying, but really, really good.
You know what else is annoying is that you're not talking at 1.5 times speed right now. Just kidding. How you doing, Sip?
I can't do it. You know better than that.
When you do a lot of basketball games, you got to learn how to talk fast.
That's true.
I've heard you. I hear you.
I hear you.
Sip, I know you got to get off early. Can I ask like 2 banter questions for you real fast before we get going?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wrote.
Hey, hold on now. We got till 3:07. That's 13 minutes. Man. It's not.
I know. Usually we go 20 with you, though, so we'll cut to the chase. But you wrote this last week. Thompson won't be available to compete for the job in spring practice because he'll be recovering from shoulder surgery. But come summer, it'll be game on. And by summer, I mean June and July. Is there a different summer that I've missed in all my years on God's green earth?
Are you going to?
I was like, well, I was just confused. Summer, of course, is June and July. What else would he mean?
I know. I kind of. I do that. Where I
Trev Alberts, the athletic director at Nebraska.
I assume people know what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is June and July are not throwaway months in college football. I think
that's fair.
Some people still sort of labor under that illusion.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I mean, guys make moves. I mean, not sometimes they're kind of subtle moves up the depth chart, but you can. There's it's more organized, I guess, than people think. So I mean, what I meant by that is the summer, June and July, as opposed to just waiting till August.
Okay. Okay. And then the other thing, and we don't have to get into this too much, but I laughed really hard in the chat this week when you wrote, I would rather chew tinfoil than watch a Major League Baseball game.
Wait, you said I was going to like this.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't you love that? He'd rather chew tinfoil than watch a Major League Baseball game.
It's a terrible take.
No, it's not. I'd rather stand in -4 degree cold for an hour and watch a Major League. I would rather do that, actually.
God, what a hater.
Not a hater. It's not hating it.
Yeah, it is. Anyone who would volunteer to stand outside in 4 degree below zero weather instead of watch a 3-hour Major League Baseball game, I think that's hate.
No, it's not. I'm not hating anybody. It's just, I don't. It's the sport.
Well, I'm not saying you're hating anybody. You're just hating the idea of having to endure a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah.
No.
You're right.
All right, fine.
All right, let's get to the sports. The banter is done.
So earlier this week, and it actually partially inspired a poll question that we did today regarding a good term for the job that Matt Rule has in year one. You believe, instead of using the word rebuild, you like the word reset. Why is that?
Oh, I mean, it's because he's walking into 10 returning starters on defense. You could say 11 guys that have started games. 6 or 7 offensive linemen who have started games, not to mention, 2 quarterbacks that have started a lot of Power 5 games. There's not a lot of coaches that get the luxury of doing that. A running back that rushed for 915 yards last year, and a guy behind him that's starting to become a star. You went and got 2 Nebraska receivers that have been, productive in Garcia Castaneda and Xavier Betts, and you have a couple guys back in Marcus Washington and Alante Brown. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there I've learned that like to portray this as a train wreck, and I think it's really disrespectful to the players. I think that take is incredibly disrespectful to guys like Quentin Newsome, Luke Reimer, Nick Henrich, Farmer, Buford.
The term rebuild? Is that
Casey Thompson, Grant. Not really.
Are you saying the term rebuild is disrespectful to them?
Or just saying that what Rule's walking into is a train wreck?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not. How is it a train wreck? Bill Bush was saying the other day that walkthrough before the Iowa game was like a national championship level walkthrough. That those kids were that engaged. None of that suggests train wreck. People want to say that, I guess. And there's a lot of ulterior motives in this fan base. A lot of just kind of strangeness.
Like what? What do you mean?
People, I don't know. It's kind of ugly. I don't know. I think all the losing has created a lot of ugliness. So they form narratives in their head. They don't relent on them. I just think it's ugly in a lot of cases.
Because
it's a tough place right now.
Because we had a listener just now, Sip, who said that, and I don't remember this, so if he's wrong, you can tell us, but that you did use the term quote unquote rebuild for Frost in what he inherited, and then
they always bring that up too. Like I was never critical of Frost.
No, and I just wanted to expand and say, given that they had 5 straight years of losing seasons, why couldn't we just apply rebuild again? Given that that's how we applied it the last time.
I just explained why.
Because they had a good walkthrough?
No, because of all the guys they have back. All the players they have back there are pretty good. You heard.
But couldn't you make the same argument that Stanley Morgan, Devine Zigbo,
J.D. Spielman?
Spielman. That season they were getting blown out. The final part of that blowout after blowout. It was.
Okay, I see what you're going. All right.
Oh, yeah. Everybody conveniently forgets that. The games weren't close and that the Minnesota quarterback ran for 700 yards and then he went to Buffalo the next. People just leave out facts. That's fine. I get it. That's what we do. But I just forget fraud, forget Sipple. What I'm amazed at is how disrespectful people are to the play. It's stunning to me that people that call themselves fans don't acknowledge what Miles Farmer's improvement as a tackler in the box. Reimer playing through incredible injuries. Somehow getting himself ready. Fulton Feast playing, above his head most of the time. It's not. I don't care what people say about me. I'm amazed how disrespectful they are to the play.
I see where you're coming from.
The team didn't make a bowl game for.
No, they didn't make a bowl game.
I don't feel like anyone's being disrespectful to the players. They're just saying the program sucks.
But yeah, you're not. But by saying the place is a train wreck, you're not being disrespectful to the players.
Except they've won in the last 6 years. They've won 4 games, 3 games, 3 games, 5 games, 4 games, 4 games. They are how many games under 500? How is that not a train wreck? Just because but this is where you and I know we always disagree of like, a team is getting blown out versus isn't getting blown out. Like at the end of the day, your record is what your record is. You know?
Okay.
Right, but
like, dude, they've added almost 40 players. That doesn't just seem like a reset type. Like think of the wide receiver SIP that they're adding. Like this is crazy that they're bringing back guys who didn't play last year.
Just think about what you're saying for a change, okay? Instead of trying to build a narrative.
I didn't know we were arguing about
we
anything.
have 5 minutes left. This
I'm
is going to
so
be good.
confused. I didn't realize we were going to argue.
How many of the 26 freshmen do you think will play next year?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, do you?
No.
Probably one, maybe two. So does that help your narrative?
I don't know what narrative you think I have. I think they're going to go to a bowl game this year. You're mad at a straw man right now, dude.
Your narrative is that they're flipping the roster because that's what you.
They are flipping the roster.
Okay. If they're flipping the roster, they'd have more than two guys that the 26 freshmen have to play.
They're flipping some of the roster. Are they not flipping a decent part of the roster?
Of course, because that's what teams do.
Yes.
It's not a total roster flip.
So you're not taking a back sip by the number 11 because it is 11.
11
right?
transfers. Yeah.
11 transfers right now. That doesn't surprise you.
No, not at all. I mean, a lot of teams are doing that. I mean, and especially teams that have struggled. But saying they've struggled and saying it's a complete train wreck, that's two different things. Yeah, they've struggled. There's no doubt about it. It's not a great situation, but to suggest that the program's in disarray, forget Frost. Everybody, obviously I'm not defending Frost. I'm not even really defending myself.
Who are you defending? I don't know. What do you think we're arguing about?
Defending the players. I'm defending Casey Thompson. Defending Anthony Grant. Defending the.
But who's saying negative things about those guys?
By saying the program's a train wreck. You're not saying that?
No.
Yeah, you are. That's what you're saying.
Okay. I think they're going to be good this year. I don't know what we're arguing.
Right, but
I feel like I missed something.
But it's
People
not
are mad.
About,
I don't
it's
know
not
what's
about
going
what
on.
you're expecting on the backside. It's what you're thinking of them in the present. Right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know how in one conversation you can say it's a train wreck and then say you think they're going to make a bowl. Like what? You're covered on both sides.
No, it's because I think the coach is going to show up on time and he's going to do his job.
Well, then, but then using SIP's argument, would it be false to say that the program in its current state right now is not a train wreck?
It has been.
It has been,
Has
but it's
it not been a train wreck?
But it's not currently because all you're saying is, hey, they're bringing in a more competent leader, and because of that, things are going to change.
I guess so. I don't know what we're arguing about.
Okay.
I feel like I was blindsided by this discussion. I must have missed something.
Whatever.
I must have missed something. I don't know what I missed.
We're 3 minutes to go, so let's move.
Trev says that the spring game will look like football. Is he alluding to something that maybe the touch football or what's been happening the last couple of years in the spring hasn't been acceptable? What does that mean to you?
I hope he's alluding to something like that. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of that comment, except it's good news. Because it was, God, that was, I don't know. It seemed like a waste of time last year for sure. I put those things out of my head, to be honest. They're hard to cover. It's hard to glean anything from them. So if it does resemble football, and there was a time when it was real football. It was pretty good,
Well, sure. There was also a time where they did two-a-days and there was full contact scrimmages during the week. I mean, isn't kind of the morphing of the modern spring game just part and parcel of the morphing of the usual practice week where there's not as much contact and
yeah. That's a lot of it boils down to that.
Yeah,
a lot of it, not all of it. I mean, if you have the kind of depth you want in your program, like Georgia. I mean, Georgia every Tuesday does a full-on scrimmage. I know I'm using an extreme example in that, it's the best team in the country, but every Tuesday is full-on. There's no special teams work. There's no red zone work. They're just going ones versus ones a lot of the time, and there's no 5-minute break. I mean, it's Bloody Tuesday is what they call it. Now, a team like that's probably more apt to have a spring game that looks more like football. So I get to a certain extent why Nebraska in recent years hasn't done it, because they can't. They were so low. Think about how low a defensive lineman they were. Was it 2 springs ago? They barely had enough of them. So I get it, but I don't know. I don't know what Trevor's talking about there.
Yeah, I just found it was very interesting. Maybe it was just a method to sell tickets, to get people to show up, and then at the end of the day, Matt Rule will go, well, yeah, we're not going to. I mean, it's not going to be a bloodbath out there, but we'll see. I'm genuinely curious. I'm always curious anytime a new coach comes in as to what that first spring looks like. What kind of message are they trying to send?
But it's 3:07.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I don't know. I don't. There's just so much, right? It's so new right now that I don't know. All I can do to keep up with all the players coming in.
Good point. All right. I don't want you guys leaving on a bad note. Kiss and make up.
I had no
He's
idea.
He's got to go. Kiss and make up.
Sip,
don't get defensive or I'm going to make you out of court.
I have no agenda.
Kiss and make up.
Bye, Sip.
We can disagree. I'll see that later.
All right.
Where the hell did that come from? What are we arguing about? I swear to God, I have no idea what happened. What did I miss? Did I miss something? Because there's a certain part of Husker Twitter that I just don't participate in. I feel like I missed something. Like you mentioned, Dochterman's coming on. People are mad at Dochterman. What the hell's going on?
Well, we're in defense mode right now.
But I didn't know where does this come from?
Well, it's natural. It's natural Husker fan behavior, right? Because everything's very positive. Ed Foley's out there.
The program is a train wreck.
He's in Battle Creek right now. He's doing the whole thing, and people are very happy. And so, anytime,
why is Sipple mad? What happened?
I don't.
What did I miss? When someone says, and I will speak for myself because I don't want to speak for you. When I say the program has been a train wreck, obviously I'm talking about the coaching staff, the head coach that got fired 3 games in, the defensive coordinator that got fired 4 games in. Who else would it be? You think I'm going to blame Quentin Newsom? No.
Well, yeah,
it's the program. It's the athletic
but
department.
The players are part of the program.
The players are talented. The guys are getting drafted. Cam Taylor-Britt is in the AFC Championship game. They had that guy on the team.
Well, they didn't have him.
No, I know. They had him the year they went 3-9. Cam Jurgens on the team in the NFL, in the NFC or AFC champion or NFC championship. Again, John, I feel sensitive much?
I feel like I walked inside.
I don't know what happened.
Because I can understand both sides.
I read the tweet from Amazing Daniel.
Josh crashing in one side of the ditch, Sip crashing in the other side of the ditch. Meanwhile, here's John just driving.
How am I not in the middle? I think you don't think the program has been a dumpster fire?
No, what I'm saying is I hear his argument because he's including the players in the conversation. I understand your argument as well. Over the last 6 years, the only Power 5 school to not go to a bowl game, that's a bad look. But and this is where we get to the whole semantic argument about what word would you use to describe the nature of the job? Rebuild, reload, reset, starting from scratch. It's all a matter of semantics, right? But I also think it lends itself to where you think the program is currently, the level of the degree of difficulty the job is going to be to get them to a certain point in year one, and what you expect at the end of year one. That's why I think this exercise is rather fascinating. Now, train wreck is not one of the words we had on the list, thank God. But that's why I understand. Because you're right. When you look at the big picture, the program has been a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
But if you narrow it down, especially after the coaching changes, and considering all the things that they went through, that they were able to end on a relatively positive note, would indicate that they have good enough players. But then back to your argument of they have flipped over a big chunk of the roster.
Yeah, somebody
they've added a lot of dudes. We went through the exercise yesterday. They did add a lot of dudes.
I don't remember if it was a tweet or an email, so I apologize to the person who sent it in because I don't have it in front of me. Basically, it was like it's 37 players right now. Here it is. It was a text from the 720. 37 out of 85 And right now, I know it's at 10 whatever.
It's at
37.85 is 44%.
Yeah. That's a big
How
turn.
is that not? See, again, I don't know what we're arguing. Accusing agendas. What my agenda is that Nebraska had a bad coach for the last 5 years. Obviously. Is anyone arguing that anymore? Are we still like.
No, we're not. We're not.
I got the players' backs. We went through position by position. I think that they're in solid shape for the most part.
What have I watched?
What did you do?
All I did was ask the question about the word reset.
Yeah, and then I read a tweet from Amazing Daniel, and then Sipple yelled at me. Daniel, I'm blaming you for this.
Don't say the word reset.
You and Ben Roethlisberger.
This is great.
Normally, I know when I'm about to fight with Sipple. I had no idea that was coming.
I didn't either. Well, you know what? Stick a pin in that.
Okay.
We'll get back to this conversation.
Cool. Can't wait.
Not train wreck, but the word that you would use. And you can vote right now. We had a lot of activity. By the way, before we get to the break and Mitch Holtis coming up, talk about the Chiefs and the AFC Championship game. Sip's word reset, dominating 54%. Believe that the term they would use to describe the Matt Rule job in year one is a reset. 24% say rebuild. 12% agree with our guest at 3:45, Scott Dochterman, starting from scratch. 10% say reload.
Those people are idiots. No offense.
On this, we can agree.
Awesome.
But I do kind of, but I agree with you too on this argument, but I also agree partially where the SIP's coming from.
On what part of the argument?
I'm not even going to get into that.
I'm so confused. I swear to God, I'm so confused. Amazing Daniel says, you made the mistake of saying that Sip said it was a rebuild for Frost and he immediately went on the defensive about being called a Frost lover in the past. But that wasn't by me or my point at all. That was my mistake. I thought that, hadn't he called it a rebuild with Frost? I'm sure I could find a column. I wasn't trying to pick a fight. You know me. You know when I want to pick fights.
I know when you want to pick
I didn't want to pick a fight. We only had it for like 13 minutes.
I know. Mitch Holtis is coming up next.
Yeah, it's sad.
Don't be picking fights with Mitch Holtis.
I'm already sad about the Cowboys. You didn't need to yell at me, Sipple. Can't fill in with us anymore. It's very sad.
Back with more. And Mitch Holtis next on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone wants you to win Gary's booty. Whoa, wait, what? Win $100 or more every weekday on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Listen during the 6 and 8 o'clock hours for Gary and Nick to give you their stat of the day. And during the 7 and 9 a.m. hours, listen for the cue to call, know the stat, and win a buttload of cash. Answer it correctly, and Gary's booty gets even bigger. Yep, we'll keep adding $100 to the booty bank till the correct answer's given on air. Win your share of Gary's booty on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley with 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Wednesday afternoon forecast will include mostly cloudy skies with temperatures falling from the mid to lower 20s. Northwest winds will make it feel like the single digits. For tonight, partly cloudy conditions, morning low of 10. For your Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy conditions, high of 28. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KTV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Do you know a high school senior who'd like a $12,000 college scholarship? Well, be sure to tell them that the Salvation Army is now seeking nominations for the DJ's Hero Award scholarships. We're looking for Nebraska high school seniors who have overcome adversity and who are doing the most good in their communities. The application deadline is March 8th. Nominate your hero today. Just go to djsheroapp.org for more information. That's djsheroapp.org. djsheroapp.org.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab you a trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Omaha Maverick baseball and softball season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a pitch or run scored. 2023 season tickets include in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS. That's 402-554-MAVS.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Hey, it's Apper for the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's finally time in the NFL for Conference Championship Weekend, and it's time for you to get involved with the FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, because they're giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay for Championship Weekend. That means you'll get free bets back if your Conference Championship game same-game parlay doesn't hit. Player props, touchdown props, interception props, they're going to be all over the board for the Conference Championship games on Sunday. You parlay a couple together, and you've got yourself cooked up a nice little same-game parlay. Or if you can't decide on what to do, you could ride with thousands of other fans and bet popular same-game parlays that are already up on the FanDuel app. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up using the promo code HAPPER and see for yourself why it's America's #1 sportsbook. Or if you already have FanDuel, you can start building your no-sweat same-game parlay right now. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa, 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus, $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
You root Big Red football, you must root Big Red basketball.
Stud 16-20.
The Zone. You ready? The most exciting announcer in professional football.
Picked off at the goal line. 20, 15, 10, 5. Jalen Watson.
Welcome to the Nobody can paint a picture with words quite like he can.
Will activate all 5 senses of your body. I think the rectal buzz that you get from the seat, maybe,
The man.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
The myth.
And the Chiefs Kingdom has firmly planted its flag on top of football's highest summit.
The legend of the Hy-Vee Salad Bar.
You want to chalk out? Guess where I'm right now? In the parking lot of the St. Joe Hy-Vee.
Mitch Holtis.
The Kansas City Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 54.
In the spirit of our last interview, we're bringing in a special pinch hitter to talk to Mitch Holtis today so that we can continue fighting with our guests. Eli Apple joining us now on the program to interview. Hi, Mitch.
Hi, Mitch.
Eli Apple has been able to do something that I didn't think was possible, and that is to get the Buffalo fan base to be totally behind the Kansas City Chiefs to win a game.
Yes.
Thank you, Eli, for that. The Bills Mafia is firmly endorsed the Chiefs Kingdom is to try to win this game.
Yeah, Mitch, I didn't realize until probably the loss in December, maybe a little bit before, how much Kansas City fans loathed the Cincinnati Bengals, because I have 2 of my best friends are huge Chiefs fans, and one of them was just saying stuff in the group chat. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much you guys hated Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
So now another matchup should be fun.
Well, Buffalo joins that crowd, too. I think when you lose an AFC championship game to anybody, there's kind of an immediate dislike. But let's just be honest, this Cincinnati team has not lost since Halloween. And they've been on a roll in both offensively and defensively. When you look at them defensively, they've only allowed 22 points all year on first possessions by opponents. That goes all the way back to their 0-2 start. So the defense is underrated, and the offense we know is good. So, yep, they're here they come.
We will outline a little bit more in detail why Buffalo really hates Eli Apple a little bit later in the program. But
perfect.
The line, as we have pointed out, Mitch, has been bouncing like crazy. Now, Patrick Mahomes, we're watching on NFL Now on NFL Network. So I'm guessing that, because that he's upright and speaking, that it may bounce another point in the Chiefs' direction. But this is only the second time, if it holds, that a Patrick Mahomes starting Bengals/led Chiefs team will be a home underdog. The Bengals, meanwhile, they've used the nobody believes in us motivation now for a few weeks. How do you think the Chiefs now being on the negative side of, oh, no one's expecting us to win, how do you think Andy Reid uses that and the boys in the locker room? How do you think that will play if this continues to hold, that more of America thinks the Bengals will win than the Chiefs?
Well, and honestly, the Chiefs will use that. I mean, the Chiefs are rarely in this position, at least in the last several years, or with Patrick Mahomes as starting quarterback, where they'll just go ahead and take that Bengals no respect card. And truthfully, the Chiefs have only lost once since Halloween. I'm talking about the virtues of the Cincinnati Bengals, which deservedly so. They've won 10 straight games. But let's be real honest here. The Chiefs have lost once, and it was to the Bengals. And it was 27-24 with the Chiefs with a 24-20 lead. Were driving on Cincinnati. And then Travis Kelce was stripped of the ball. Or if the Chiefs go in and score there, they're up 31-20. So, heck yeah, there's a no respect card here for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chiefs Kingdom. So Cincinnati doesn't necessarily have the psychological propaganda advantage in this game that they've had a lot of the season.
Mitch, Mahomes obviously is the best quarterback off script in the NFL. I think that we're all fair in assuming that his mobility will be limited on Sunday. Now that they will have a week of game planning and it won't be happening on the fly, how does the offense change, do you think, knowing that fact?
Doesn't have to change much because you have such a volume of, it's like having this whole warehouse full of equipment and, oh gosh, this forklift's not going to work this way, but let's look at these other 5 forklifts. The reason I give you that analogy is there's so many things built into this mass offense that you don't have to necessarily create something new. You will have to get, inventive within that realm of the offense, but it's the most vast offense in the NFL. There's no greater volume in the National Football League offensively than this Chiefs offense. So there's a ton of things you can do formation-wise, protection-wise, run-pass ratio. It's only limited by the imagination of Andy Reid, which really doesn't have much of a limitation. I found it interesting in watching the Buffalo-Cincinnati game, and I really thought Cincinnati shocked Buffalo in that game, and they did so, I think, by running the ball so effectively.
Yeah.
But after the game, when the pundits were up there, and it's Boomer Esiason, Bengals, I think he's really good. Nate Burleson's up there, right? Bill Cowher. And Phil Simms, who's, I would say, probably not my favorite of that group, they're all kind of cackling and talking about, the Bengals are going to destroy the Chiefs. And then all Phil Simms says is Andy Reid. He looks at him and he goes, Andy Reid. And then they cackle again, and I think Nate's is really good. Like Nate, but he goes, boy, he better come up with like a darn good game plan. And all Phil Simms goes is Andy Reid. So we've seen Andy adjust and come up with things in the past. And many times you could look at this. Andy's almost more effective when he's in this underdog role or where he can come with some things unexpected. And with Mahomes' high ankle sprain, that there's a little bit of a shroud that works in the Chiefs' advantage of like, well, what will they do? And you can't anticipate what they're going to do or practice. You can only guess. But Andy Reid's coming, man. He's within that realm to answer. I'm giving you a long answer, but within this vast database of stuff for that offense, I trust that Andy's going to come up with a lot of things to account and take care of Patrick's injury.
Travis Kelce is third all-time in playoff receiving yards. He's only behind Jerry Rice and Julian Edelman. And we know how important he is.
He's only 55 short. Now, look, keep going with that list.
Yeah.
That's where it gets interesting. That's I'm on Channel 7 this week on The Minute with Mitch. That's where I go with it. So keep on rolling, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're hitting something here.
His game log versus the Bengals the last 2 years, 5 for 25 and a touchdown in the regular season loss in 21. Last year in the championship game, he was 10 for 95, a touchdown. In the regular season matchup this year, 4 for 56.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a magic number for you, or what do you think, where do you think Kelce needs to be Sunday? Because you've got to assume that Cincinnati, realizing, hey, Mahomes is wounded, Kelsey's the safety valve. If we take out Kelsey, and I know that's easier said than done, but is there like a magic window of where Kelsey needs to be on Sunday?
No, let's back up to the Kelsey historical perspective here, because I don't think it's being said nearly enough or at all by national pundits or even regional folks. You mentioned he's, for catches right now, he's second all time to Jerry Rice in the amount of receptions. Rice is 1, Kelsey's 2. You mentioned receiving yards. He's only 55 short of being Rice's 1, Kelsey's 2. When you look at touchdowns this is all postseason play, by the way. He's a touchdown from tying Gronk for Rice 1, Kelsey 2. And so Kelsey historically here, if he has a decent game this week, will be Rice 1, Kelsey 2, almost all the way through. And he nearly had 100 yards receiving. He's at 98 yards on Sunday against Jacksonville. And that was going to tie him with Jerry Rice for the most 100-yard receiving games in the postseason in NFL history. All right, what's the magic number here? One thing, and I went back and looked at this game from December the 4th, where there were only 6 targets for Kelsey, 4 catches. And on one of those 4, John, that was the game where he was stripped. It was a 19-yard gain, and Jermaine Pratt had him stood up with some buddies and basically ripped his arms as Kelsey was trying to go down and keep that drive going. That was one of his 4 receptions. There were 0 catches on third down. So 1 is to get the manageable third down.
Yep.
But 2, figure out third down with Kelsey. He can get off double teams. Now they're going to make, they can go up and grab him and hold him and pull him down and bite him and pinch him. And they're like, Mahomes won't have the time. He doesn't have the ankle. So he's not going to have the time. They can do all of that. But keep in mind, Andy Reid can have countermeasures here. I've seen him do this before, where he's got ways of getting Kelsey off double teams. So there's no magical number here. It doesn't have to have 100 yards receiving. But I do think some third down productivity here would be good. And then red zone productivity, where you cannot necessarily go, hey, we're going to just go up and tackle Kelsey and devil may care. There's too many other weapons here. Because enter Jerick McKinnon, who really has been flashing since the game against the Bengals back on December the 4th. That's when McKinnon turned it on, and he has been record-setting since that time. So there's just more in place here for the Chiefs to account for the Bengals going, well, let's just take care of Kelsey and we'll win the game. That's not necessarily the case.
Mitch, other side of the ball, we haven't even talked about when Joe Burrow has it. Biggest key for defending him, because it's so funny. I feel like I wasted a lot of breath last week saying, man, if Buffalo, with the 3 linemen that are going to be replaced, Buffalo, they should be able to make some noise versus them. And instead, what did Cincinnati do? They just ran it down their throat the entire time. What do you see when Cincinnati has it this weekend?
Okay, well, let's back up first on the myth that it's oh my God, it's 3 backups on the offensive line. What will they do? They signed him off the street. They went to Norfolk and found him at a garage sale. What are they going to do? Let's stop it. The right tackle was Akeem Adeniji, a KU kid, by the way. He was all Big 12 at KU, who played and started every game last year for the Bengals in their playoff run, including the Super Bowl. So this wasn't Gary Greenhorn coming out there and going, gosh, can you block that guy in front of you? Stop it. And then Max Sharpring was the right guard. He's got like the second most playoff starts, I think, or close to it, of anybody on the entire offensive line. And he's standing next to Karras, who's won 2 Super Bowl championships at center with the New England Patriots. The only exception in this discussion is the left tackle. He's the only greenhorn. The other guys are all veterans down the line. So it was like, wow, we just did such a great job of just putting guys in. I don't even know their name. It was like Baker Mayfield for the Rams. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And people need to do a deeper dive into that group. But to your point, they ran the ball. Keep in mind, Joe Mixon didn't play against the Chiefs on December the 4th, and Samaje Perine had 150-plus all-purpose yards. And Cincinnati did a great job of doubling the play side down linemen for the Bills. They get to the linebackers. Tremaine Edmonds got handled in that game, and for the most part, Matt Milano did too. And it was basically just power runs to control that game, and it was 6, and it was 7, and it was 8 yards. And you tell me how to contain Burrow. Burrow gets rid of the ball, second fastest of anybody in the league. 1, Tom Brady, 2, Burrow, 3, Trevor Lawrence. So the ball comes out fast. You're not going to get a bunch of sacks on him necessarily. but you can disrupt things. But you better stop the run, and you better be physical with these guys because, and particularly from the first second of the game, because Cincinnati reminds me of the collegiate or high school wrestler that wants to pin you in the first period. They're not going to sit there and wait, and they're going to come after you and try to get the pin and slap the mat, because these dudes, 46-0 against their opponents in the first quarter in the last 5 games. The Chiefs have got to come out firing, and they've got to be physical on both sides of the ball from the first second of this game.
It's only Wednesday. I told you this is why, even more than last year, when I had a dog in the hunt and I was too ball of nerves to enjoy it, why I think this championship weekend is one of the most exciting championship weekends I can think of in my memory. The intensity of these matchups and the intrigue of these matchups. You can already, it's already Wednesday and Mitch is ready to fight. I love this. I can't wait for Sunday.
Line them up, baby. I'll fight them all day long, and let's go. So
I dare you to walk down the hall to Dave Lapham and take him out at the knees. I dare you.
You know, I'd be looking up at Dave going, why do you always talk over the play-by-play, dude? I'm getting going, you know, because there's no better analysis, I think, in sports than going, that's it. Woo! Yeah. That's all. So if Nick does that to you, John, I'll fire him. Okay.
Nick doesn't
Who's
do
doing
that.
your color now, John?
Oh, I've got tonight. I have Ravi Lul. I have a rotating.
He's like a handful of guys.
Boz now, you know, FS1. He's a TV guy now. But I got I got former J. Taylor Stormberg. I've got former J. Tyler Clement, big Kansas City fan, season ticket holder. Yeah. Mitch Holtis, ladies and gentlemen.
Ken Pavelka gave the seminar and had to handle color guys.
Well, that's because he learned from Bremser, who would have probably jabbed him in the ribs several times if he dared to walk him.
He has the hand on the volume because he's got the pot, right? He's got the hand on the volume control and just keeps him down all the time until it's up. You talk for 10 seconds, I'll take you down. I've got the mute button, so just mute him out.
Wow, the power! I love it. The power.
How many great Bengals plays have been ruined by, that's it.
Wow, the rivalry, it even extends into the broadcast booth. I love it.
Oh, this is like when me and Rich Chavotkin of Georgetown get into a scrap before the game. By the way, congrats, Hoyas. You won last night.
Hey, good on you. Good on you, Georgetown.
Mitch Holtis. Mitch.
Wait a minute. Stop. And they beat?
Yeah, they won. They beat DePaul. Yeah.
They beat DePaul.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Now, DePaul just 1 week earlier knocked off Xavier, who was undefeated in the conference. So they've got a win over the best team and a loss to the worst team.
Well, there you go. That's Big East basketball.
This ain't the Valley, Mitch. This ain't the Valley.
Moral of the story to all analysts out there listening. Don't give this as analysis. Yep, that's it. Woo! Don't do that. That ruins play-by-play highlights.
I'm not disagreeing. Mitch Holtis, brought to you by Hy-Vee, official grocery partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Mitch, have a great call. I look forward to Sunday.
Well, let's hope the Chiefs are polishing the Lamar Hunt Trophy next week when we talk. Let's do that.
All right.
Alrighty. Thank
That's
you,
a
Mitch.
deal. Mitch Holtis.
It's like Chick Hearn. Remember on Winning Time when Pat Riley would tell you, hold up the fist.
Hold up the fist.
That meant shut up.
Shut up.
Everybody's so intense today.
Yeah.
What's Scott Dochterman going to be like? He's the one guy on this list who we brought on because he had pissed some people off.
And again, you're going to have to explain this to me. Next segment, I know we're not going to have a lot of time. I need to know what is happening this week because I missed something. I missed everything.
Well, we'll explain it.
All of us need a refresher. It's like going to Wikipedia.
We're going to hit the reset button, or is it the rebuild
God,
button?
Not again.
And you can win Gary's food. Listen mornings with Sharp and Hanley on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone. In support of the Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, 1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. For details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Before new Cascade Platinum Plus, I would pre-rinse all my dishes because my old detergent just wouldn't get them clean. But now I do dishes differently. And no pre-wash, no rewash, money-back guaranteed kind of different. Because Cascade Platinum Plus has double the grease-fighting power of Dawn built right in, with twice the scrubbing power, giving me a clean that lets me break all the dish rules. I just scrape, load, and I'm done. Yep, so clean. With Cascade Platinum Plus, I dare to dish differently.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
NRG Media, the parent company of this radio station, is looking to hire a client marketing coordinator. This person will work directly with our sales account executives to create and execute multimedia marketing campaigns for local businesses. Critical and creative thinking are must-haves. If you're organized, goal-oriented, and have a marketing mind and are proficient in Microsoft, go to the careers page at nrgmedia.com for more information and to apply. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Mark your calendars for the 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health. The Blue Jays square off against Xavier at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. The first 16,000 fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative Creighton versus Cancer t-shirt with exclusive Pinkout posters distributed upon exit. Limited tickets remain online at gocreighton.com/tickets. The 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, proudly sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
All right, so
what happened?
Let us explain why we have Scott Dochterman coming up next. And will Scott Dochterman be as feisty as our previous two guests? We'll know in a moment. But he had a mailbag column.
No, it wasn't even a mailbag. He was like asking questions to himself.
Okay. Jeez.
No, it's not a mailbag. It wasn't. Unless did I miss a column? I just wanted to make sure.
You are starting all this thing. You didn't have to be so aggressive.
It wasn't a mailbag. He was asking, it was Iowa football fact or myth, right? That one?
Yeah.
He was just, it wasn't a mailbag. Now I made John mad.
You're in timeout.
Everyone's
You're
mad.
in timeout.
Everyone's mad.
You're in timeout.
Hey, I'm going to guarantee you something real quick. Before we finish, we're going to say that this was a good show. I promise you. We're going to say this was a good show and that we had a great time.
Highly unlikely.
We had a great time.
Anyway, the question was, is Iowa the Big Ten West favorite?
Okay.
And he wrote, by default, the preseason Big Ten West conversation regularly turns into an Iowa versus Wisconsin debate. Spot the lie, no lie detected. The Hawkeyes won decisively last fall, 24-10 with a dominant defense, but the Badgers did the same 27-7 in 2021. Iowa returns much of its elite-level defense and plays only Penn State among East Division heavyweights. Wisconsin revamped its offensive approach to an air raid under new coach Luke Fickell and added 3 new quarterbacks and 4 receivers. Wisconsin faces Ohio State at home along with the Hawkeyes.
So that's why people are mad? That's a normal paragraph.
Don't get me mad.
I already
because
did.
I am the master of mad.
I can't wait for your broadcast.
All you Mitch Holtises, Steve Sipples, you're amateurs compared to me.
He's the mad.
I am the mad man. Anyway, second paragraph.
Mad Max.
This is what triggered the folks.
Okay.
Considering Purdue and Illinois have lost major pieces and Nebraska is starting from scratch. Bah, bah, bah. I wish we had that drop.
We do.
It appears Iowa, Wisconsin, and perhaps Minnesota are the preseason favorites. To pick one that stands out, yes, Iowa is the one. Can the Hawkeyes actually challenge the East Division champion in Indianapolis? That's a question for a different day. So that's what he wrote. But that was the line. Nebraska is starting from scratch. To which friend of the program, who tweets us often, Jim in Minnesota, replied, I'd like to know why you think Nebraska is starting from scratch. To which Scott replied, new coach, new system, ton of new players. Not saying it can't happen, but it's not like Nebraska was even in Wisconsin territory with 7 wins last year. To which Jim replied, Nebraska led Wisconsin for the entire game, save for 22 seconds last year. Wisconsin lost to Iowa badly. Nebraska beat Iowa. If Wisconsin isn't getting penalized for a new coach and drastically new system, why is Nebraska? I'm not saying Nebraska will win the West, but starting from scratch, yeah, that's a stretch.
See, it's funny because I would actually say I am totally fine with not including Wisconsin for the reasons mentioned that they are also starting, I don't know if we want to say from scratch, but a new offensive system. I mean, certainly that is going to be a negative, but I would also add that like Nebraska is not in the Big Ten race too. And then finally, so okay, maybe here's where I am where I disagree with people. Yes, they did lead Wisconsin for all but 22 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And to Sipple's point, yes, they have lost a lot of close games. But those games happen in a vacuum. You are, in my opinion, what you are over the course of a whole season or multiple seasons. You just mentioned, what did DePaul do? DePaul beat Xavier.
They beat Xavier a week ago and then lost to Georgetown last night.
How does that make sense? Well, because it's sports.
Over
Over the course of the season, DePaul will turn into whatever they are, and that will be what they are. Not what they are at their highest or what they are at their lowest. Nebraska football.
Which may have happened within 8 days of each other.
Yeah, exactly. Nebraska football, in my opinion, is not beating Iowa. It's not losing by 30, whatever, to Michigan. It's the course of the season. And the course of the season is 4 wins, 3 wins, 3 wins, 5 wins, 4 wins, 4 wins.
And
that's what they are.
That is fine logic.
And that's how I've approached it.
That is fine logic. And I would also add this. I would probably throw out a lot of last year in terms of the results, especially from a Nebraska standpoint and a Wisconsin standpoint, because the teams will be, whether you want to call it starting from scratch, they will be changed significantly.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wisconsin is going away from an offense that has,
that's been their bread and butter for 35 years.
Look, you can say it has a lower ceiling than it should, and that's totally fine. I'll agree with you, but that's what they've been recruiting and coaching to. We saw quite the change from 03 to 04. Now, I don't know if this is going to be as radical as what that was.
You could argue it might be.
It will certainly be radical, though, and they will have new starters, and the linemen have been recruited to play in one scheme, and now they're going to have to play in another scheme.
They're bringing in 3 transfer quarterbacks, and there's a lot of mystery there.
Nebraska starting from scratch, brand new head coach. Every coach is new except for Donovan Raiola. You and I disagree. I think they'll have a new starting quarterback. The receiver room, let's see what that is. The offensive line room is going to have new starters. Maybe not the running back room. The defensive line, linebackers, there's a lot of questions. Why is that so
Well, anyway, that's what inspired
why
the poll
people-
question,
people are
and that's
mad?
what inspired us to get Scott Dochterman on the program today.
Okay.
So now you're caught up. You feel better educated?
Yeah, I think so. I just don't know why everyone's so mad.
Well, and that's a great and that
Like, I'm
was
serious.
something
Why
that was
is-
something Scott pointed out in a later tweet. He said, why is starting from scratch or rebuilding, why is that a bad term, or why does that have to be a negative?
Because look, and I say this as someone, again, who thinks that they will make a bowl game, but this is the type of attitude that if you're like, we're not rebuilding or reloading or if you're trying to define these terms, it's like you're not watching what the team is.
And the reason why this exercise is interesting, maybe even important, is it indicates what you expect from them at the end of the season, in my opinion. Because if you think that this is reloading, you're wrong. But if you do think it's reloading, that's implying that you already had a working gun to reload to start with.
Yeah, somebody pointed out earlier, and
Nebraska has not had a working gun for 6 years.
Maybe it's like a musket.
I apologize for not giving this person credit, but you know who Northwestern's lone win was last year?
Nebraska.
So it's like, I think Husker Follower just put it well. This is about Sipple. He says, I just don't think he is calibrated yet to this being a bad program. He said 8 wins last offseason. And I think we all have struggled with what is true about this team. And we look at them in vacuums and say, well, they keep losing all these close games. So they're not close to being 8 wins. They're close to 6 wins or 5 wins.
Right.
They're not close to being a division contender.
Just
Just because
you can't lose 6 close games and say, well, we were close to being 6-0. I mean, you could, but in reality, you're
not how it works,
because you lost those 6 times.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why you lost those 6 times.
Yeah. Wow, I thought that this was going to be a nice, calm offseason, and today was a bucket of cold water on an icy day.
Well, let's find out if Scott Dochterman is just as triggered as everyone else today.
All right, let's do
I'm
it.
going to bet no, because he seems like a
I don't even want to
level-headed
argue with
dude.
Scott. I have some normal questions for him.
He seems like a level-headed dude.
Cool.
Well, this is one thing you should get passionate about, and that is your family's safety. And with heat exchangers in gas furnaces that go bad, which they do over time, that can allow carbon monoxide to escape into your home's air. That is very, 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 very bad. So if it's been a while, if it's been more than a year since your furnace was inspected, please contact the good people, the non-triggered folks at McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. They have over 100 years of experience in their service department, and they value your time, which is why they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. And right now, through the month of February, McCarthy's 1 Hour will offer, with each maintenance inspection, half off on all carbon monoxide detectors. So you get the furnace inspected to make sure it is performing safely and efficiently. Plus, you can get half off a carbon monoxide detector so that you know that you will stay safe this winter. Please don't be a statistic. Contact McCarthy's today. McCarthy's1hour.com. For McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air, always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, looks like you could run into some delays on L Street for both directions around 36th to the JFK. If you're east on 370, delays starting at about 132nd going to 90th. And then if you're west on Dodge, delays between 680 and 120th. And if you're west on Center, delays between 84th and 102nd. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
It's a celebration of love at Saul's Jewelry and Loan. Now through Valentine's Day, get 50% off a huge selection of jewelry. Diamond rings, 50% off. Gold chains, 50% off. Bracelets, 50% off. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. It's the celebration of love sale at Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Omaha Maverick baseball and softball season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a pitch or run scored. 2023 season tickets include in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS. That's 402-554-MAVS.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Listen to Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jay Overtime, the Creighton men's basketball postgame show on 1620 The Zone. Live from DJ's Dugout downtown. It's right after every home game, presented by Barry Law. Exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
With every war, there is a flashpoint.
Yes.
You know, the assassination of the Archduke, the invasion of Poland, and or the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Yep. Wow, where are you going?
John, what is this?
You know, the Emperor, you know, turning Sith, and actually he started the Clone Wars, which then begat everything else. I mean, with every fight, with every war, there's a touchstone. And for today's program and the contentiousness therein,
it's this guy.
It's Scott Dochterman.
He started
Scott Dochterman assassinated our Archduke.
Wow, Scott, is that true?
Hey, you know, I don't compare myself to Gavrilo Princip very often, but apparently I found the gun and the car went the wrong direction. So what am I supposed to do, right? I love the history reference.
Thank you. Honestly, Scott, it only started like an hour ago, and it's by accident, and it was, and we just recited it for all the listeners. You were just out there, you heard it, but we kind of went through the timeline. It was just an innocent question. about, hey, who's the contenders in the West? And you mentioned that Nebraska's rebuilding or starting from scratch. And it's always interesting because I think these types of terms can be interesting in terms of where it leads you or where you're setting your expectations. But you watch not only Iowa, because that's your primary beat, but you also, along with Mitch Sherman and your great staff, you cover the entire Big Ten. So you've got a bigger perspective on all of this. So when you look at Nebraska from where you sit, starting from scratch makes sense because blank.
Well, I think you look at just all the relevant numbers, where it fits right now, and I think that that's a relevant term. And I didn't know that there was some sort of trigger point for a lot of people on this. But when you look at first of all, new coach, you want a new culture. It was obvious the culture was not working under Scott Frost. Maybe that was the number one issue. So is that starting from scratch? Well, possibly. Then you look at the players that you have, and there may be a lot of players returning, but there were only 2 that were on all conference teams last year, and both of them are off to the NFL. So you got 3 levels of all conference teams, and none of them are returning to Nebraska. And then you look at a system. He's going to devise his own system. Matt Rule is an excellent coach. He did a great job at Baylor and Temple, not as much with the Carolina Panthers, but that tends to happen. And then you look at some of the other factors that every Power 5 program but Nebraska is qualified for a bowl 2017. They were 100th in total offense and 102nd total offense and 100th in total defense. And yes, they almost beat Wisconsin, and yes, they beat Iowa at the end of the year. That's something to feel good about. It's something to build upon, but I don't see why it's a negative term to consider this program starting from scratch. It's probably for the best. It means it's starting over. It's trying to get better. It's building a different culture, building a different era. And it's not a slight in the least. And it was an innocent term. And so how it became this flashpoint and I'm holding the I'm lighting the fire. I'm Edmund Ruffin shooting down over at Fort Sumter is really kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah, sometimes, Scott, I as someone, I would say that I have leaned more on the pessimistic side of Nebraska football versus some of my contemporaries in the media and certainly the fan base over the last few years. I think that the close losses versus the overall record kind of did a number on this group of people where they're like, but they're taking a playoff contender Michigan down to the wire at home. They're taking an 11-win Michigan State team down to the wire on the road. They're up by this many points on this team that's going to win the division. They're up by this many. And I think that versus the record was something that is hard for so many to grapple with. And so I'll be honest, Scott, I missed this whole kerfuffle until John let me know about it last segment. I didn't realize that phrase. I figure you probably just threw that in there, not thinking anything of
it. You're exactly right. I thought, this is how I'll describe it. And because, frankly, I've always felt like Nebraska has the opportunity to be good. It just hasn't for whatever reason. Culturally, I mean, you look at the coaches in the Big Ten West, and last year Nebraska was 7th. Out of those coaches. This year maybe it's not, but it was an innocent term that I never really expected people to take such heated anguish over. But I understand the thought of, hey, they had 9 losses by single digits or something like that, 2021. And that's fine. But, is that really the way you want to be remembered? I mean, frankly, 2017, Nebraska's 13th in Big Ten in victories among Big Ten teams, 12th in league victories, only 1 over Maryland and above Rutgers in both. And that's it. So it's really about, perception to some extent. And I'm not trying to, try to deny Nebraska its history or anything like that. But when I'm saying that they're starting from scratch, that's probably the best thing to do. Just start over, just look differently. And then you can gloss over, once, Matt Rule leads them to a, maybe not a Big Ten West title because this is the only year for it, but beyond that, to greatness, to maybe a playoff berth, then you can say, well, that was just a bad era. So maybe he did start from scratch, and I don't want to ever hear this term again. Because I've had this happen before. But no, I guess I've been surprised since yesterday that people taking such umbrage over it.
Scott, kind of along those lines, you've been covering an Iowa program that has now been in the same league as Nebraska for over a decade. In that time, Nebraska has made multiple coaching changes, and so you are used to being on that side of the river, looking over at us, wondering what's next for Nebraska football. I wonder, what about Matt Rule makes you think that he is the guy to finally turn things around? And are there some causes for concern that you have that maybe he's not the guy that Husker fans hope for him to be?
Well, I understand the unbridled optimism. That seems to be kind of, but I also saw it with Scott Frost.
Yep.
And that cannot be denied. Everybody expected him. Everybody here expected him to be good. So when that didn't happen, and in fact, it was probably worse than it even was with the Riley era, then you just kind of go, okay, well, here comes another coach. Now, Matt Rule has done it, and he's done it in different ways that I think I would say I would be optimistic about the opportunity to be a competitive program again. And that is when you look at, what he did at Baylor, more so than Temple. I think Baylor is the one that I would look at and say, he's a Northeastern guy who went to Texas. That's a place where you can get eaten alive if you don't know what you're doing. He hired the right people. He recruited the right people, and he coached them up and did some really good things before he went to Carolina. Now, he didn't succeed in the NFL, but that happens to a lot of people. In fact, most college coaches, that doesn't happen to. So I do think that he's got that opportunity. Now, I'm kind of on wait and see. I think that's probably the best way to go, just like I am with Troy Walters, or Ryan Walters, going to Purdue. That is a completely different system. I'm not sure he's going to do well. Luke Fickell, I'm probably a little bit more bullish about, number one, because Wisconsin has had better infrastructure for a long time. They're the second in wins since 2000 among all Big Ten teams, and he's done it multiple times at one school. So, now changing the offense is something I am skeptical about because they had a formula that worked. But so I look at these teams and in different ways and think that there's opportunities there, and then Nebraska's certainly in the same ballpark. But I want to see it before I start to believe it, and certainly before I start to go, yeah, they're going to be among the favorites. After winning beating one West Division team last year.
Scott Dochterman, whose ancestor Zebekiah fired on the Redcoats at Lexington and Concord, joining us here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And if I could take on, and maybe let's expand a little bit on Wisconsin, because if I can read the tea leaves of some of the folks who may have been triggered about the Nebraska, call it a dismissal, if you will, but the fact that you mentioned Wisconsin, and certainly the changeover to what they want to do under Luke Fickell does remind folks around here of the changeover from the Frank Solich, Tom Osborne option offense to the Bill Callahan West Coast offense from 2003 to 2004. And we all remember around here how painful that was. But you said something before that I think was important, Scott, and maybe you can expand on this. The infrastructure, call it culture, call it whatever you want. There's an infrastructure perhaps at Wisconsin that is better suited to handle that change than Nebraska. Would that be a fair assessment? Sure.
And I think you look at, what was Nebraska good at last year? Nothing. They were 100th on one side of the ball and 100th on the other side of the ball. At least Wisconsin had a really good defense, and it can always hang its hat on that. Now, will it be the same without Jim Leonhard? I can't predict that, but it was a good defense throughout most of the year. It was fifth in rushing yards per carry. It was third in third down passing touchdowns. In all these different areas, it was exceptional. So at worst, it can rely on one side of the ball to kind of dictate pace and tempo. Now, the offense, I'm mystified. I'm blown away by what they're going to try to do because it's so un-Wisconsin-like. It'd be the same way if it probably happened here. I wouldn't understand what are you trying to do here? But bringing in a new quarterback from SMU, Tanner Mordecai. That is just going to be something I'm not going to be used to seeing. Now, it makes fail spectacularly, but they have again, a system, a culture. The defense is in place. they still have their running back, and they still have the physicality that can kind of go out and dominate at times on the long line of scrimmage. That I think that even if it doesn't work out the way that they plan it, they're still going to be a bowl type team. And so, but it remains to be seen if they take that next step or the step that they once had of being an elite level Big Ten team.
Scott, you mentioned it a couple minutes ago, the Big Ten West, and then you jokingly said, well, I guess for as long as the league is going to be set up this way. Yeah. I wonder how you think the lack of divisions will change how we view a good season. I've spent more time than I would like to admit wondering about like how we will start defining good years at Nebraska if Matt Rule is able to get things turned around. What do you think that's going to be for a division, a group of teams that has never broken through to the playoff? They've had a couple of teams that have gotten very close. Like, I know how Penn State and Michigan, Ohio State will define a good year without divisions. How do you think Wisconsin, Iowa, et cetera, are going to define it when the league presumably changes, in a couple seasons?
I think the dividing line is going to be, did you make the playoff or not? And I think with the Big Ten right now, each and every year, you're going to set that line at 3 teams, probably both participants in the championship, and then a third team that's maybe tied for the second spot and didn't get in for whatever reason. So I know, and you look at the Big Ten even in recent years, that who could get in that top 12 and who's maybe more in the top 10 because there's going to be qualifiers. And 2 years ago you had Michigan State and Iowa right on the cusp of that, along with Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. And when you have USC coming in, and whether Nebraska is able to move forward, or Wisconsin, or even Illinois or Purdue, any of those teams are capable of taking a step forward. And so I think, that's going to be the equivalent of going to a New Year's Six Bowl, of being able to play in the playoff. And I think that's going to be the gold standard. Now, championships, they're going to be very, very difficult to come by. And I would say it's almost unrealistic for a team like Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Nebraska even, to think that they have the opportunity to win a national title, because you're going to have to run a gauntlet of teams that recruit at a completely different level than you. But I think being able to get to the tournament and be able to win a game or two, I think that's something that teams can kind of say is the ultimate destination. And the more you go, the deeper you go, it's the rarer it gets. Because I think TCU, what happened this year is the outlier of what we'll see in the playoff era. I don't see that happening more than a win or two per year.
Scott Dochterman of The Athletic, before we let you go, let's talk one thing about the Iowa beat, and that is, here we are, it's January the 25th, and usually if you're going to make any coaching staff changes, they would have been made well in advance, but with the specter out there that Brian Ferentz could be considered for some NFL jobs, obviously he's been one of the most controversial figures in the state of Iowa in the last couple of years. Anything new in the tea leaves as far as where this leaves Iowa, where this leaves Kirk Ferentz, and how serious changes could be on the offensive side of the ball?
I wish I had a good answer for that, because I think as much angst as I've maybe had from the other side of the river last night and today, it pales in comparison to what Iowa fans are experiencing with Brian Ferentz. I mean, they want him gone, period. I mean, and it's a critical mass, and yet that hasn't happened. And now some of that is Brian has some gifts, and I would say coaching offensive line and the running game are the gifts. The actual planning, execution of the offense is probably not a gift. And I think right now, whether he's contemplating or has an offer or considering moving to New England and rejoining Bill O'Brien with that staff, I think Iowa's kind of dragging its feet. And I think the fans have had it. They're tired of it. They want something new. They want something different. And it just involves somebody besides him. It could be me calling plays, and they'd be fine with it, at least for a game or two. So I don't have anything new to share or offer. I've heard different lines every single day from multiple people who are close to it. So therefore, I have nothing that's concrete enough that I could come out and say, I think he's definitely doing this.
Scott Dochterman of The Athletic. Scott, we'll let you get back to what you were doing, and that is combing 23andMe to see if you had any family members that fired on the Lusitania.
That might have been more probable than Lexington and German descent here.
That's what I wasn't going to go there, but every family's got their skeletons in the closet.
That's true. That's true.
Scott, we really appreciate it. Thanks. And I think it's a fascinating conversation. All the angst aside, it's at least from the Nebraska perspective, because I do think it lends itself to where fans expect this team to be after the first year. And that's been a debate that we've had ongoing here for a little while, and we will continue to have throughout the course of the year. Scott, thanks again for your time.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You
Thanks
bet.
so much.
Scott Dochterman of The Athletic.
Thanks for the content, Scott.
Yeah.
The accidental content. I had no idea. Shang Ping. Oh, no, it's changed. Sipple Appreciation Club tweeting in.
Wow.
At 1620 The Zone.
Why did he change?
Please suspend Josh until he formally apologizes to our sweet baby boy, Steve Sipple. Do I need to apologize?
To our sweet baby boy, Steve Sipple.
I thought, tiny baby boy and then sweet baby boy, Steve Sipple.
And now we have Jason from Huskerland tweeting, this semantics argument has been the most annoying part of Husker Twitter the last 2 days, with an I don't care gif.
Dude, I'm so pumped. Again, I'm so pumped that I missed all this.
But I do think it does lend itself, because I think it sheds a light. It's a window into what you're expecting from this team this year, because the level of the work that needs to be done commensurate with what you expect on the backside.
Do you know what rebuild? Do you know what the definition of rebuild is? Build something again after it has been damaged or destroyed.
Yes.
So why is that wrong? Why is that the wrong thing?
It's been part of the reason why I have been adamant and continue to remain adamant that I do not expect a bowl game this year.
Mm-hmm.
And probably will not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this a little bit, but I also admit I'm not a hardcore Husker fan who has its own, Husker fan podcast.
I think that.
Well, I guess I do have my own podcast.
Yeah, we have our podcast.
But I mean, I don't look at this. I'm not looking at this through the lens of a fan who typically is always hope always springs eternal, right?
Basically, the way you're not viewing it like Nebraska is owed something for, because
nobody's
they've gone through
owed
tough years.
anything in sports.
Yeah.
Nobody is owed anything.
The thing that I guess continues to stick with me an hour later is when he talked, he said, he threw out the word agenda. And
now we can't even mention him by name. It's not just he.
Sipple, Steve Sipple of Husker Online on 3.com. I didn't realize anyone again that we were already doing agenda stuff, and that's the part where I just start getting like, man, if we're already talking about agendas to make X look bad or Y look good, that's where I feel like I missed something.
That is part of my motivation of I'm not expecting a bowl game this year. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not expecting it.
I'm going to reset you.
You can go ahead and reset
and then
me
I'm going to rebuild you.
I'm right.
No, they're going to a bowl game.
I'm not expecting it.
Your boy, he's going to be on the poster. You're saying, wow, you're disrespecting the players.
No, I'm not
saying
disrespecting the players.
You're disrespecting
If anything, I'm
Quentin
disrespecting
Newsome.
the coaches for not having any experience in the Big Ten, and there's a learning curve.
Yeah. Oh, man, the poor learning curve.
Do you think on the poster
It's Indiana.
Do you think on the poster for this season, they had it made, and then with all the new people coming in, when they adjust the roster, they're going to have to start from scratch?
Oh, I hope the poster says something like time to rebuild. That would be hilarious.
Honestly, if they want to be smart, the poster should just be, hey, it's 100 years of Memorial Stadium and not put any players on it at all.
That's solid. That's solid. Amazing. Danny
No
says,
one respects the old gray lady. Why do people... And now what does Trev want to do? Trev wants to rebuild Memorial Stadium.
Oh,
How
God.
disrespectful.
It's already here.
How disrespectful.
I'll read Daniel's comment when we come back.
All right. We'll come back and we'll answer the question for ourselves.
Will we? Just redefinitions of things. The thing, I'll tell you next.
Now Josh is really triggered.
I
really didn't think this was going to
I didn't either, and now everyone's yelling.
Everyone's in a mood today.
Yeah.
It's $1 beer night.
Thank
That's
God this
probably
wasn't
the last
Monday.
place some of you need to be.
I think I would have broken my laptop if this would have happened on Monday.
Dumb debates is going to be a nightmare.
But again, I promise, at the end of the show, we will look back and say that was a good show. We enjoyed our time together.
Why do you set those types of expectations on us?
It's a rebuild,
We still
John.
have an hour and 45 minutes until we have to do the last segment of the show. Why would you do that?
I believe in ourselves. I believe in each other. The positive boys. The positive boys. Thank you, Nick.
1620 The Zone.
Hey, everyone. Josh Peterson here for my friends at Cougar Vision. Look, if you...
Who will rebuild your eyes?
They will. They will. Or is it a reload? You know what it is? It's a reset. Sometimes you open up the definition and you look up the definitions of all those words and you're like, wow, they basically all mean the same thing. But I couldn't read it clearly because I had bad vision. I don't really know where I'm going with this, so I'm just going to tell you about my friends at Cougar Vision. It has been now almost 5 years since I had that procedure done. I believe it was the very end of February, so we're about a month away when I had that procedure that changed my life. I was sick of the glasses. I had been wearing them since I believe I was in 5th grade. And that was almost 20 years. And over the course of that time, did I hate the glasses? No, but I hated the inconvenience of the glasses. I imagine many of you have that exact same feeling, whether it is snowing or raining outside, you get in the car, you got to clean them off, and suddenly there's streaks all over them. Whether it's, oh man, I misplaced them, or you've had good vision and suddenly you don't, and that part is frustrating. Well, whatever it is, they will help you out at Cougar Vision. Give them a call today at 402-558-2211 and schedule a consultation and get a procedure done. You can also find out more information at cougarvision.com.
1620 The Zone wants you to win Gary's booty. Whoa, wait, what? Win $100 or more every weekday on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Listen during the 6 and 8 o'clock hours for Gary and Nick to give you their stat of the day. Then during the 7 and 9 a.m. hours, listen for the cue to call, know the stat, and win a buttload of cash. Answer it correctly, and Gary's booty gets even bigger. Yep, we'll keep adding $100 to the booty bank till the correct answer's given on air. Win your share of Gary's booty on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley with 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and cold into the evening with the temperatures only around 20. Becoming partly cloudy later tonight, we should drop back to around 10 for a low. And then partly cloudy skies on Thursday, still pretty chilly with high temperatures only in the mid and upper 20s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, looks like you could run into some delays on L Street for both directions around 36th to the JFK. If you're east on 370, delays starting at about 132nd going to 90th. And then if you're west on Dodge, delays between 680 and 120th. And if you're west on Center, delays between 84th and 102nd. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
There's a lot more to love for a lot less at Salt's Jewelry and Loan. Now through Valentine's Day, get 50% off a huge selection of jewelry. Heart-shaped jewelry, gemstones, everything you need to show your love. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. It's the Celebration of Love sale with 50% off jewelry at Salt's Jewelry and Loan.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton men's basketball is back at CHI Health Center on Saturday as they host Xavier in their annual Pink Out game. Tip-off is set for 11:15. Limited tickets are still available online at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus Xavier on Saturday at 11:15. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
In support of the Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, 1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. For details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees.
John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
You don't need that cake. I'm going to eat your cake.
It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Well, the folks are really voting. I mean, this is one of our most active polls ever.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Love an active poll.
Which of the terms would you use? And I also asked you, if you have another term, please submit in the comments. And there is one that came up that I think is also a rather interesting one. Which of these terms would you use to describe what kind of a job Matt Rule has in year one at Nebraska? Is it a rebuild, a reload, a reset? That was the term Sipple used earlier this week. Or starting from scratch, the one that we just heard Scott Dochterman mention. Reset, 49%. Rebuild, 25%. Starting from scratch, 16%. Reload, 9%. In my opinion, there's one really wrong answer, and that's reload. So I'm glad that only 9% see it as a reload, because my analogy is that's implying that the gun was already working.
Yes.
Well, the gun hasn't been working for 6 years, so it's hard to reload a bad gun.
You know what the gun is? No spoilers. The gun is the gun from the movie we watched last week. That's all I'm going to say. That's what the type of gun Nebraska's had was.
Oh, we were going to talk about that movie already.
No, the movie we watched last week.
Oh, last week.
Remember the gun?
Well, there was
in the
a gun in the movie we're watching for this week too.
Wow, so
Spoilers, John. I haven't watched it yet.
There is a gun, Nick.
Wow. Yeah, it's a movie made in the modern times. There's usually
of course
gun
there's
in
a gun.
Wow.
Wow.
If they remade the Care Bears movie, there's probably going to be a gun in it.
Am I sensing you being triggered about the new movie?
I'd love to see
Find out Friday on 1620 The Zone's Movie Club.
Right, so we're going to disagree. Wow, you're going to be Sipple and I'm going to be Josh.
But the other word, by the way, that was brought up in some of the comments was remodel.
Good Lord. All of these words basically mean the same thing, except for the reload.
Kind of. They do.
Somebody just tweeted at me about that remodel as well. Needs a fresh coat of paint.
It certainly does. But again, I think which is what's interesting about this exercise, whether you want to use one word or use a rating system or however you want to look at it, I think it's a window into what you expect of this team by the end of the season. If you think this truly is a reload, then I'm guessing you think that this is going to be a bowl team and you're expecting it to be a bowl team this year.
John, yeah, if you think it's a reload, it's not even that. It's like division contender.
If you truly think it is rebuild or starting from scratch, which you could argue is the exact same thing, I would tend to think that your expectations are going to be a lot closer to where mine are. And that is, I'm not expecting a bowl game this year. What I'm expecting this year is to watch and see how this team looks and how this team performs and how this coaching staff responds to a brand new situation. This is brand new. Matt Rule is not walking into college football 2017 when he took over Baylor, right? Was that the right year? 2017?
Yes. Yeah.
College football 2023 is not college football 2017. It is different. It is different. Also, the Big Ten Conference is a hell of a lot different than the Big 12. Notice I said the conference is right.
Good job.
Plus I don't have to add a quarter.
Good job. Proud of you.
And that's where a lot of my hesitation comes from in terms of not wanting to set an unfair expectation in year one. And I believe a bowl expectation, not prediction,
which is what
bowl expectation is unfair in year one for the reasons I mentioned and the fact that, hey, Matt Rule's track record has been year one usually pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be that way again. And with the transfer portal and some of the additions that they have made, maybe it lifts the floor a little bit, but the ceiling that you're running into is called the Big Ten Conference. And it's new and it is unique to this coaching staff. And I think there's a learning curve that's involved here. And then I also think, Nebraska is bringing back a lot of experienced players. But they've all experienced one thing more than they've experienced anything else.
Losing.
A
lot of it.
And you've got to change a culture. Scott was right. Scott Dochterman was right. The culture was the biggest fix that Scott Frost needed. And he just went from a bad culture and it was just a different bad culture.
Yeah. Different types of bad culture.
It didn't improve anything.
Yeah.
It was just a different kind of bad culture. But at the end of the day, the end result was the same, losing, and a lot of it.
Yeah, just in different ways. They traded out getting blown out for losing because they kept shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over.
Precisely. So there's a lot of work to do. To me, year 1 isn't going to tell me about what year 5 or year 10 is going to look like under Matt Rule. It can be a glimpse.
Well, certainly, if they were able to make a bowl game, I think that,
If they were to make a bowl game, I would say they have exceeded my expectations, and I will be happy to say that. But unless they plan to really turn this corn dog movement serious and literally transfer in the Georgia starting lineup.
Can they? Now that is a team that
If
I
they
would
do
like
that,
to win.
then
They
I reserve
reloaded.
the right to change my mind, but they ain't doing that.
No. So you are in they are rebuilding /
They're
starting
rebuilding.
from scratch.
They are to a degree. I mean, starting from scratch would imply that they're wiping everything out.
But
they're wiping out enough
Yeah.
where you can call it a rebuild. You remodel. You remodel something, it's going to look very different from what it used to. It is in the neighborhood of, or the universe of, a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think sometimes people get so true to the exact definition, and they hear starting from scratch, and they're like, it's not literally everyone's not new. It's like, yeah, duh, because it's college football. You can't have 100 new players and 10 new coaches or 11 new coaches. But you know what? They have 10 new coaches out of 11. They have 1 head coach, and they have 9 new assistants. Out of 11 coaches they have, if that's not starting from scratch, but
plus I don't remember what the stat was. I thought maybe Sean Callahan pointed it out, but it's like all but 10 or 12 of the behind the scenes staff.
Yeah, all that
has
stuff's
also
new.
changed out, and they have a big staff.
Yeah,
behind the scenes that aren't the 10 full-time assistant coaches. They've changed everything virtually.
But look, this is
except for the carpet.
This is kind of funny, but it's also, there's some truth to it. Travis says, I'm not sure why people would say / think that Nebraska starting from scratch is a bad thing. Starting from scratch or resetting are not horrid terms. And the way I thought of it was like, if you hear your food is made from scratch, you're not like, oh, this is going to end horribly. No, it's just you're starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a break. But I think you are right. The reason apparently that there's a lot of anger this week is that I don't think people want to be told again that the team is, going to be bad but I believe that they can turn it around. And there is a lot of Kool-Aid again, as there always is. And there's
off-season national champions.
And it's new Kool-Aid, right? Because you don't know the faults of Matt Rule yet. Last year there was still Kool-Aid, but a lot of people that at once, myself included, I raised my hand, you raised yours, that we bought in all that stuff back at the end of 17 into 18. We weren't doing it anymore, but people still were. Well, now you don't have to be pessimistic because it's not the same head coach. You're able to buy in a little bit more. But I think you're right. I think the end game expectation, I think that kind of shapes how you view it. But I really don't think that there is that big of a difference between rebuild, reset. There is if you say reload, but rebuild and reset, resetting a culture. That is a part of rebuilding a culture. It's all the same, we're talking about maybe the difference between you saying, I think they'll win 4 or 5 games, and me saying, I think they'll win 6. It's not that big of a difference in the end. So I don't know. Feels like this has been making a mountain out of a molehill.
Possibly.
John says it's a makeover, to go back with some of the things you said earlier.
Amazing Daniel, as we see on the YouTube comments, semantics implies that the words aren't really that different. Sipple wrote a whole article trying to say it's one and not the other, with a definition which was to downplay how difficult it would be. Yeah, I think the use of the word reset is a soft, because we've heard of soft resets and hard resets, but just to me generally the word reset is a softer word than a rebuild. To me,
I guess so.
To me, it is. Now maybe that's not what he was trying to get to,
but then
with the defense of the players, and yes, he's right. There are a lot of players coming back, but they've also turned over a lot in that room. There are going to be at least, what do we think, 40 new scholarship players.
Right now there's 37, and so if you have to cut down the 101 to 85, that means you're losing 16 players. The majority of those, and I think we can all say this, the majority are going to be previous guys, not new guys.
Right.
They're not bringing in new guys just to cut them immediately.
Right. Unless there's, a grades issue or whatever the case may be. but you're looking at potentially almost half of your 85 scholarships will be held by different people who were not here in the program before.
A couple more comments. This is a text from Adam. He says, I think NU makes a bowl game, 7-5. They would have made a bowl last year if Frost had been fired before the season started. They wouldn't have lost to Northwestern or Georgia Southern and gotten 6 wins and maybe more with a different start to the season. I actually think Rule is inheriting a decent culture. Mickey laid a lot of groundwork in flipping the culture last year. That on top of maybe what Sipple said, and I poo-pooed it a little bit, the warming up for Iowa. I mean, it's if it was a team that believed they could win, in that game, I imagine that they will have more confidence, going into this season than they did. Brian, along those lines, says, I think it's funny Frost had a rebuild, quote-unquote rebuild, when the team he took over remembered going to a bowl game and a 9-win season, whereas this team hasn't even had a winning record. Yeah, I mean, when Frost took over, they were only 2 years removed from a 9-4 year,
Yeah, that's right.
We were putting a lot of weight on
bowl games for Mike Riley.
We were putting a lot of weight on one year.
On 1 year.
And look, I'm with
especially
Trent.
the finish of 1 year after the boss got fired.
Yes.
And it was a foregone conclusion that the head coach is coming next.
I'm with Trent. He texts in to 402-951-1620. This is stupid. Yes, this is January. Holy crap.
Wow. I thought
Not
it was
you.
I thought it was a nice conversation.
It's
or
obvious
it could be a
that-
good conversation.
I mean,
and
it
now
could-
it's being called stupid.
It could have been. People are just.
Are we going back to not talking football? Okay.
We're talking NFL. Never mind. Rebuild, reset. Are people really excited about the NFL? Do people even watch it anymore? Some people, John, watched the NBA last night because they have TNT now.
You're old.
How am I old?
I'm Josh, and I have cable.
Nick, it's cheaper than streaming.
Mr. Cable Boy.
It's cheaper.
Did you get the box that you have to walk up to and turn the dial? Does it have a remote?
Had to mess with the rabbit ears.
Well, that literally is not cable.
Oh, oops.
That's
well,
antenna.
I guess I'm paying someone for nothing then. Weird.
How many channels do you get? Does it go up to 36? Does it go up to...
Well, better. 36 is TNT. Oh, what a life. What a life.
Well, coming up, Chiefs fans are mad. Preemptively.
What are they mad about? No. Are we saying Patrick Mahomes is great instead of the greatest?
Apple won't shut up, and the Cowboys Twitter account has been owned by an NBA team.
We're going to live online now, John? Good Lord. I thought you were an adult.
I am an adult.
Living online. You're too into Twitter these days. I keep telling you, get off Twitter.
1620 The Zone is turning Wednesdays into Woodhouse Wednesdays today.
Oh!
Today.
Oh!
Seriously, folks, get to 1620thezone.com right now because you can win a Woodhouse prize pack, which includes a Yeti cooler.
Do you know how much those things are?
Those are expensive
Yeah.
and they are good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our Yeti
We have our
cups.
Oh, I don't have mine today. But yeah, they're great.
Gift cards to Casey's.
Oh, pizza, breakfast pizza.
You can use it on the new expensive
Zuh.
gas. Thanks, Biden inflation.
Oh, not again.
Rocket car wash certificates. Keep your car clean. Oil change certificates to Woodhouse and more. Plus, each winner who claims the Woodhouse Wednesday prize will be entered to win the grand prize of $2,600.
So
which means you can win the Woodhouse prize pack and then be
And-
qualified to win the $2,600 in cash.
Wow, that's even bigger than when we did 4-quarter pick'em.
It is.
Holy moly. Wow.
And it's
so wait,
easier
all I
than
got to do, I
four-quarter
just got to go to
pick'em.
1620thezone.com?
Yes, go to 1620thezone.com right now and enter Wednesdays.
There it
Woodhouse,
is.
Woodhouse Wednesdays.
It's on the main. John, you see our video, you see our faces.
Just scroll down
Scroll
past
down.
our ugly faces and click on the link.
Can I register?
No, because
All right.
you incited a war with Steve Sipple. 1620thezone.com.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. Cleanairradio.com.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
J-Tech Construction reminds you that this time of year, your home's energy efficiency is under tension. Don't let your windows cost you by raising your energy bills this winter. J-Tech Construction will come out and provide you with a free estimate on upgrading your windows and keeping your energy costs down. They have custom-made, energy-efficient windows that keep the outside out with the professional installation you would expect. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction, your exteriorexperts.com.
Mark your calendars for the 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health. The Blue Jays square off against Xavier at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. The first 16,000 fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative Creighton versus Cancer t-shirt with exclusive Pinkout posters distributed upon exit. Limited tickets remain online at gocreighton.com/tickets. The 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, proudly sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is 5 $10 vouchers for just $25 at Stories Coffee Company. Stories offers teas, smoothies, breakfast, lunch, heavy appetizers, craft beers, and wine. Oh, and they have live music select evenings. 114th and Dodge, Gretna, and now open at Midtown Crossing. Stories Coffee Company, this week's half-off deal.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Don't forget, you can call or text anytime into a hotline, 402-951-1620.
Yep.
It's a hotline.
It is indeed.
It sure is.
Or the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. Answer the phone on the first ring. John at 1620thezone.com. Josh at 1620thezone.com. That's where you can also send some dumb debates or use the hashtag dumb debates on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at USC 1620. Chiefs fans are preemptively triggered.
No way.
The referee for Super Bowl 57.
No. They're doing a. Wait a second.
Is Rihanna the referee
has
too?
Been selected.
They're mad about they're not even in that game yet.
Carl Cheffers, which means Warren Sharp is now also mad because he was the one that he went on the whole.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? There's a referee, folks.
Yeah.
So why does Carl make Chiefs fans mad?
Well, Carl Cheffers, who this will be his third Super Bowl in the last 8 years. He did 51. Which was 51 Falcons, the Falcons choke job?
Yes.
And 55, in which the Chiefs were flagged for 120 yards in penalties.
Against the Bucks?
Against the Tampa Bucks.
Well, they lost by like 30, so I don't think you can cry about the refs.
They did, but...
Wait, why are they crying about the Falcons' loss? What is that?
No. They're crying about the fact that Carl Cheffers flagged the Chiefs 11 times for 120 yards. They are blaming him for...
You know the world that I live in with my NFL team? I mean, first of all, they always let me down, so I kind of start there. That's my beginning. I try not to learn their names because I just figure there's going to be bad calls in every game. There's going to be good calls in every game.
You know what we didn't have a lot of?
Bad calls?
This last weekend, we didn't have a lot of bad calls.
No.
I thought Cowboys 49ers was pretty well officiated.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember.
I don't remember
anything in the
like
Chiefs
any
game.
horrible
Don't remember-
calls
no.
in the games this
No,
weekend.
not at all. No, you want to hear some tweets? Here's some tweets. At Lance the Spoken. So do the Chiefs get 2 Lombardi trophies when they beat the NFC champion and Carl Cheffers?
Wow.
At the GOAT Mahomes.
That's Dibbs' account?
Yes. It doesn't even matter if the Chiefs win on Sunday. They will lose the Super Bowl with Cheffers as a referee. Let's see.
Or because they play a really good team for the
this
NFC.
little lady Jay.
Nice.
Let's hope he learned his lesson from the last time he officiated a Chiefs game with the eye roll kind of.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a
What's the eye?
threat.
What's the emoji where the eyes are looking up and the mouth is turned to the side?
Like an eye roll emoji is what I would call that.
An eye roll.
Yeah. Okay. We'll
Slanty mouth emoji.
At JP Brademeyer says, "Oh God, no! Please, God, no! How? What have you done?
Wow.
They really don't like this guy.
No.
It's going to be a tough look for all these fans if they lose to Cincinnati this weekend.
What's going to happen if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl?
Then they'll be like, we beat the refs too. That's what they'll do.
Well, I didn't know how those gymnastics were going to
At
work.
Vivanu
Like the other one said, Nick,
says
he'd be like,
the
"We'll get 2
NFL wants
trophies."
the Chiefs to lose. Wow.
Can we stop this? Now I'm getting mad again. I want to go to dumb debates. You're making me mad again. God.
Well, speaking of making people mad, Eli Apple.
Oh,
we mentioned this earlier with Mitch. Eli Apple has really ticked off the Bills. Now, yes, he was very mouthy and was taunting. I believe it was Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, and Diggs was pissed. We talked about it yesterday in content.
But he also tweeted.
Oh my gosh! I googled Eli Apple, and the first few headlines aren't good.
Cancun on 3. So he's making fun of the Bills' next play is going to be Cancun on 3. Is after going on vacation.
Oh,
but,
no!
But he attached an emoji.
Yes, it's a very specific emoji.
The emoji is the using your 2 hands to form a heart symbol, which
God.
is the symbol that has been adopted by one Damar Hamlin, who used it before he was injured.
Yes,
but
and it's
now
really become a
now
thing.
It's kind of become his thing, kind of like when Mike Utley, who was the Lions lineman who got paralyzed, he had the thumbs up coming off the field, and that became kind of his thing. It was the thumbs up, Mike Utley. Well, this Damar Hamlin, the 2 hands making a heart.
Then when they
symbol.
showed him, now you could barely see him because of the snow, but when they showed him on Sunday, that's what he did.
And so the Bills, Shaq Lawson responded, "That bleep get you beat up on the field." The Bills are very triggered. Apple insists, "No, I wasn't disrespecting."
Yeah, he said, "Never
Damar."
would I make light of that scary, unfortunate
So
scene."
why would you use that emoji?
Yeah, I don't buy him.
There's a million emojis.
There are.
Ask Matt Rule.
Oh,
he
knows.
uses all of them.
He knows about the emojis. 100.
100, but no one committed. No one committed.
Yeah, Nick.
You could have used any emoji. Why did you
100.
use that one?
I think I know why.
Because he was trolling.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting a reaction.
Wow.
And speaking of getting a reaction, we didn't get a chance to get
Big
to this
Red?
yesterday, but I figured we need to brighten up Josh's mood because he's been in such a bad spirit. He wasn't in this kind of mood when his team lost. But the Cowboys' official Twitter account after the game, when they put up their link to the article on their website, tweeted the link to the article with the tweet, Dak Prescott gave away the ball twice in the narrow loss to the 49ers. In a matchup, the Cowboys had a chance to win if they didn't again generate self-inflicted wounds. That sounds like a tweet from a columnist, Skip Bayless,
a local paper. No,
A
not even
paper?
Skip. I just say a local paper. That is how I think a
But that's-
normal writer would kind of describe
That's
the game.
the official Cowboy website.
Wait, so why are we being critical? Because they were honest? Finally, we see some honesty from our nation's Twitter accounts.
That they dumped on their quarterback.
I don't think they
That
dumped
kinda-
on him. I think that they described the action on the football
They
field.
threw Dak under a bus.
They threw Dak under the bus.
I appreciate this from the Dallas Cowboys that they admit when they
how many
fail.
times do you go to cowboys.com to get
Never.
your official Cowboy news?
Literally never.
Why?
Because it's a bunch of homers. Why would I?
A bunch of homers. This opposite of homer. They're trying to take Dak Prescott out at the knees. They did more to Dak Prescott here than the turf did at Texas Stadium 2 years ago when he broke his leg.
Jeez,
They threw
wow.
him under time traveling Jera's machine.
Yes.
Oh, well, maybe time traveling Jerry's going to cut him.
The Miami Heat last night beat the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, by 3 points and ruined my bet of the day.
That sucks.
Yeah,
the
thank
tweet,
you, Nick.
the tweet
I
from
won.
the Heat read as follows. The Celtics gave away the ball 17 times in the narrow loss to the Heat. In a matchup, the Celtics had a chance to win if they didn't again generate self-inflicted wounds.
That's pretty good.
Is my friend, Mr. Buck, do we still have the Jack Buck drop?
Nick doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Have we haven't
Go to the
used
main
this?
page, Nick.
Do we still have this? Because if there was ever
Alphabetical order, Nick. Always
main page, MAIN. Oh, please say it's still here because it's one of my favorites. I don't break it out very often. There it is. Very bottom right
Bottom
corner.
right.
The very bottom corner. Ladies and gentlemen, Miami Heat, give me a Jack Buck, please.
Pardon me while I stand up and applaud.
Well played. Thanks a lot, Celtics.
That's pretty good. Do you honestly defend the Cowboys Twitter account?
No, I don't care. No, look.
I was just double checking.
Everything sucks. You think I care? I'm not going to use my brain power to get mad about that tweet. I'm mad that they lost, not that they...
Well, that's because you've used up all your mad brain power today on SIP.
Again, I came into work in a good mood. I had a great lunch, some awesome salt and vinegar chips. I found a new brand
I thought
in
you said you went to
town.
that cult restaurant down the street.
No. I've been trying to not go out as much. I had a hot ham and
Oh,
cheese
you had
sandwich.
salt and vinegar? No wonder you were...
Salt and vinegar chips are good, John.
Yeah, they're the goat.
They're
Well,
so good.
speaking of that, dumb debates is next. People who think salt and vinegar tastes good are dumb.
Wow.
No you.
Yeah. Yeah, no you.
No you?
No you.
You.
No you.
No you.
No
I know
you.
I'm still laughing, by the way, at us saying main page and Nick being like, okay, where is M? Let me look. M.
I forget it's in alphabetical order. In my head,
Every
it was
time
like,
it's in alphabetical order.
Glad that
No,
drop was
I
still
know.
there. I'm just glad I didn't lose my
In
Jack
my
Buck
head, it's
drop.
like main page should be at the top. That makes sense, but it's in alphabetical order.
Alphabetical
so it wouldn't
order.
be.
All right, coming up next is Dumb Debates. On 1620 The Zone, Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley is the place to go for all your vehicle needs. You can check out their entire inventory right there at their beautiful showroom just off I-29 north of town on exit 75, or shop their inventory online at woodhousegm.com. You can find the perfect car, truck, or SUV in their new or certified pre-owned inventory. Get the Woodhouse difference, either in person or online. How? Well, easy. You can engage in an online chat with their knowledgeable, friendly sales staff online. You can schedule a test drive at your convenience online. You can value your trade online. You can also check out everything that they offer, including price offers, specials, and more online. WoodhouseGM.com. So whether you're looking for a sporty Camaro or the family-friendly Blazer, SUV, the Equinox, the all-new Equinox, or a brand new Silverado, check it out online, woodhousegm.com, or visit their showroom in Missouri Valley, just off I-29, exit 75. Find new roads to Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley or woodhousegm.com.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, currently no wrecks to slow down the drive home. We are getting reports of delays on L Street for both directions around 90th to 96th. If you're west on 370, delays from the JFK to about 36th. Slow going on Blair High Road for both directions between Military and 103rd. If you're north on 72nd, delays between F Street and Grover. And then also delays on eastbound and westbound I-80 between 84th and 60th. I'm Mike Neville.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $908 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Nick Handley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. There's so much going on in sports now. Pro football playoffs, college and pro basketball, college and pro hockey, and more. DJ's Dugout is an Omaha tradition to gather with family and friends to cheer for your team. Great food and tall beers, too. Man, love me some of those. Voted Omaha's #1 sports bar and my favorite, too. 7 metro area locations. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Omaha Maverick basketball is in the middle of conference play and scheduled to make a run this season. Come see all the action at Baxter Arena as your Omaha Mavericks try to rise to the top of the Summit League. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your Omaha Maverick men's and women's basketball single game tickets for all upcoming Summit League action at the Baxter Arena box office by calling 402-554-MAVS or at omavs.com/tigs.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. The red-hot Omaha Maverick hockey team finished their 6-game homestand last Saturday by shutting out the Miami Redhawks 2-0. They hit the road this weekend with a 5-game win streak as they head to Western Michigan. Maverick men's basketball was unable to fend off South Dakota, who beat the Mavs 84-68 last Saturday. The Mavs fall to 3-6 in league action. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
It'd be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a blow
throw.
It would be nice to have a blow
throw.
It would be nice to have a blow
throw
from your mom.
Listeners and not to, we did anyway, dumb debating.
John's computer sucks, Macs are the only way, dumb debating.
Fullbacks are running backs, hamburger steaks.
Josh is too dumb to eat a cupcake.
Mail-in a base.
Does John like Nebraska or Creighton?
Just 3 radio hosts on air, dumb debating. Die for the pylon or give up on the plate, dumb debating.
Millennials are great and old should go away, dumb debating.
Rarely do we find any common ground.
Josh wants his food to be the best around,
even if it gives him fatal flatulation.
Just 3 radio hosts on air, dumb debating.
When a tree falls down and nobody's around, you can bet your ass it won't make a sound. Water ain't wet, you know nothing about hydration. Just 3 radio hosts on air, dumb debating. Just 3 radio hosts on air, dumb debating.
I know we have expanded our universe to allow you to see inside the program. You get to see us now when you go to 1620thezone.com.
Yep.
But no matter
Also,
how you
we're
see
with us
or
with
listen
it.
to us, remember, it's still AM radio.
Yep.
One thing I will draw the line on. There will be no behind-the-scenes audio of the program.
Wow, is this you, like, making fun of Jack Mitchell?
I make fun of him on the air.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. We ain't
Like the
doing
last conversation should never make the air.
No.
What conversation?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Husker football?
I mean, it was started by Nick again.
That's
Okay.
true. Yeah, you did bring him up first.
Barely.
You brought him up first.
It is dumb debates where sometimes the dumb conversations we have off the air do come on the air.
Mm-hmm. Like?
And in fact, I believe one of the most famous dumb debates, even before dumb debates was a thing, the is hamburger steak hamburger started off the air and then basically took over an entire day's program.
Yeah, and then you and Stibbs yelled at me for a while.
Because you were an idiot.
I don't even remember my opinion on that one.
You said it wasn't hamburger. It's a steak.
Oh, yeah. Just sounds like something I don't want to try.
Well, it's just a hamburger patty.
There's grilled onions on it. Out on grilled onions.
Grilled onions are good.
You
I
don't
like
have
raw
to have,
onions.
You don't have to have grilled onions on it.
Oh, okay.
You can just have the hamburger
a plain
steak.
hamburger steak.
Mm.
It's like you don't have to have the Béarnaise sauce if they offer the Béarnaise sauce on your steak.
I like Béarnaise
What's
sauce.
Béarnaise sauce?
It's blue cheese-ish.
Oh, is
right?
it? Oh, then I don't
Right?
like it. I
Isn't it?
didn't think so. It's not that color.
Or is it just
It is
or is
sauce made from clarified butter, emulsified in egg yolks and white wine vinegar, and
Oh.
flavored with herbs.
okay? Yeah,
Nick, it's awesome.
It's closer to a hollandaise sauce.
You usually do it Oscar style with a little crab in it too. I've had it
isn't
one
there a
time.
fancier
Tremendous.
term for the blue cheese?
I've never had that.
Isn't there a fancier name for a blue cheese sauce?
trash sauce, I believe. Just throw it in the dumpster.
I like blue cheese.
Here's a dumb debates question, because there's a couple related to the stupid Dallas Cowboys. Ziggy says, as a Cardinals fan feeling sorry for Josh, is it worse to be a fan of a team who usually seems close but always disappoints, i.e. Cowboys? Or is it worse to be a fan of a terrible franchise who will never succeed, no hope, but no letdowns either? So, I don't know, the Lions, the Browns for many years. What's it worse?
People forget
What's
the
it worse?
longest championship drought in the NFL belongs to the Cardinals.
Yeah, they won one in like the 20s, right? Or was it the 30s?
I believe the Chicago Cardinals may have won a title in the 40s.
Go check real fast on Wikipedia.
I think.
They won in, oh, that's just the, here it is. 25 and 47.
47.
Because the Lions won in what, 51?
They won 2 titles in like 54 and 55.
That's crazy. So what's it
maybe
worse?
57. 57, I think, was the last Lions championship.
They have 4 titles, 35, 52, 53, 57.
57, okay.
So you were a fan of the Rams, who was kind of that like trash franchise for a long time. They were.
For like a decade.
I thought
Before
it was,
that, they were really good.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 2 decades. I always forget about the 70s.
How
and 80s.
dare you turn my... God, you're just inciting riots today. You're just throwing strays at everybody. No, well, the Cubs are the better example.
You were a fan of the Cubs. So what is worse? And I'm trying. Look, you were a fan of the Cubs and Nebraska, and for a while they were both sides of this question.
They were opposite ends.
What's
of the
worse?
spectrum.
What was worse? What did you find more frustration in, being a Cubs fan or being a Nebraska football fan?
That's actually a pretty good question, because now I got to put myself into that mindset when I was in my 20s or teens.
Because for like the Cubs, you never. I mean, remember like they made the playoffs
with
in
the Cubs,
'98, and it was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, they only
before that had been what, '84?
They only made like 3 or 4 playoffs, in the first 20 years of my fandom.
Yeah, so they were like horrible. But
20-ish
Nebraska,
years.
you saw them in natties, you saw them
Yeah,
on the
very close,
doorstep,
very close. On
but
the
they always
doorstep.
disappointed.
That's a tough one.
What's the quote? What's the thing they say? Like, it's best to have loved.
Better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Because that's kind of what this question is. But man, I mean, look, I'd rather have a team that you can believe in them, that they can get over the hump. But it really, the extra stress that comes with like getting close and not having it's way worse on my willpower as a fan than like being able to check out in November because the team is bad because of injuries, you know?
Yeah, but there's a desperation that exists with knowing your team is bad, yet you keep coming back to them. It's a bad marriage. You keep coming back to it because you can't let it go.
Like Nebraska football right now.
And I guess to me, if I had to pick one, I think it's worse to be a fan of a franchise that's never close, that always seems out of it.
Mm.
And I realize, the Cardinals have been to a couple of NFC championship games in the last 10, 15 years, went to a Super Bowl. But, I mean, for the most part, the Cardinal franchise has never been very competitive. Certainly not as close as the Cowboys, who also come into it with, see, that's another thing that adds to a layer in this conversation. Nebraska was expected to always be in the conversation because of their history. The Cubs were never expected because of their history.
Yeah.
The Cowboys,
are expected,
even though it's been 27 going on 28 years, because of their legacy and history, are expected to be good and compete for championships. The Cardinals, because they haven't won a title since 47 and haven't won much since,
we never
expected to do that. That's a tough ass. That's a tough answer, but I think I'm going to go with I'd rather be a fan of a team that's got the expectations and has approached it.
Yeah, me too. Well, here, I know we keep using some of the same examples. Nebraska basketball. That seems like a miserable existence.
Yes.
The people who are diehard Nebraska basketball fans, I tip my cap to you. I don't know how you do it.
I don't, because I think you should be institutionalized.
Yeah, I think props to you.
That's mostly because of Jack Mitchell.
Yeah, for being a diehard. I don't know how you do it because it seems horrible, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. One more kind of about the it is about the Cowboys. Sky asked, which play was funnier, the last play of the season for the Cowboys this season or the last play of the season for the Cowboys last season?
Oh, it's this season, easily.
I'll tell you which one was more annoying. It's not this year. It's last year's by far.
Well, sure, because they were, dare I say, close.
They were.
It still would have taken a miracle, no matter what formation Dallas lined up in, to go, what were they, at the 30-yard line?
Yeah, they were going to have
70 yards against that defense.
Scott Van Pelt calls it a pitchy woo-woo. They weren't going to score. Last year was infuriating because there was 14 seconds and they were in 49er territory.
Right.
They're a nice gain away from not even a Hail Mary, from like an out pattern, or a post.
They were at about around the 20, right?
When he slid?
Yeah.
They were inside the 30. They were close to the red zone. Yeah.
It would not have taken a Hail Mary. It still would have taken
it would have been hard because they just would have had everybody at the goal line, but at least it would have been feasible.
Right.
I didn't expect anything to happen.
There's more of a possibility that the Cowboys could have run some kind of a gadget play inside of the 20-yard line, like throw it short of the goal line and then do a pitch and have that break, versus trying to do the same thing from 70 yards away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would
agree.
Like,
why?
That
one's
more.
Do that?
But this year's was far more funny, just simply for the fact that Zeke Elliott, who was centering the ball, got destroyed.
That's the funniest part. It's not that they were in a weird formation, and it's not that the receiver got caught or got blown up when he caught it. It's that Zeke just gets shoved over immediately, and it's like, it was great play, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's move away from the Cowboys.
I'm going to ask this question based on a conversation that was had earlier today when things were a lot less contentious and much more peaceful. And even though I'm throwing out the challenge, Mr. Sindelar. I have not gotten a good dumb debates from Alex in a while.
Wow.
But this question is inspired by a conversation involving Alex Sindelar, one of our great friends of the program, because he mentioned that tonight Robbie's on the broadcast with me. He's going to be very Natalie attired. Said it's only fitting that Robbie appears on the game broadcast for Fan Appreciation Night. I appreciate him for his good takes and bad takes. He and John together make the Blue Jay fan community fun and as cool as a $1 beer. To which I said, wow, you're comparing us to cheap beer. So that inspired the question. Is it good to be compared to cheap beer?
Ooh. I will say yes, because I am more of an optimist. Cheap beer is great.
My favorite beer is PBR.
Cheap beer is awesome because you know why it's great? It's affordable.
It's affordable.
is,
It tastes good.
But
You
it's
can
also
drink it in a
it's also
garage.
intoxicating. When
Yeah.
consumed to a great degree, can lead to very bad things, either health or the health of others.
Drink responsibly, though.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Okay,
But cheap
so
beer, we saw it happen on Disco Demolition Night. It was 5-cent beer. And
Let me tell you a story, John. At the
They
COVID,
destroyed a lot of disco
A
records.
lot of good records.
at the COVID
Gone.
super spreader event of 2023,
Never forget.
last Friday night at the Phoenix.
I was wondering which segment you were going here.
As I arrived, I asked myself internally,
You may ask yourself.
what do I want to drink? Now, I knew I was not driving home, so I had that situation taken care of. But as I walked up, I looked at the beers and I said, ooh, a fairy nectar. That sounds delicious. And I decided in that moment, no IPAs for you tonight, mister. And I said, I'll have a Busch Light. And I had more than one Busch Light on Friday. I didn't catch COVID, hopefully. But I did have a lovely evening, and it was affordable. It was affordable, and you know what? Sometimes you don't need the ABV to be 6, or 9, or 8. Sometimes it's nice to be 4.
And at the same
4.5,
time, I had a
5.
cocktail. I didn't like it as much if I would have just gotten like a PBR or a beer.
Okay, so it's decided. It's good to be compared to cheap beer.
I like
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Ravi and I will be your cheap beer tonight.
Travis,
Well, unless you're there at the arena and you're actually buying the cheap beer, then
how about this? Adam adds in, cheap beer is trusty and reliable. Good
It
thing to be
is.
referred to.
it is.
LOL. Travis says, is
Great
PBR
after
still
mowing the
cheap?
lawn.
I thought it became trendy and expensive like 10 years ago.
You know what?
is PBR
So
expensive?
when I bought that
It is cheap.
PBR,
It's
from,
cheap.
No,
No?
the PBR 12 pack that I got there,
Yeah.
basically the same price as a Busch, or I'm sorry, as a Bud or a Miller.
Really?
Yeah.
Does PBR used to be cheaper than those things?
See, I think because PBR's gotten back into the good graces of trendiness,
Hell yeah. Hipsters. We did that.
Hmm.
and here's a serious question because I haven't bought in Busch in a while, but isn't Busch kind of approached the same price point as Miller Lite and
I don't
Bud
like
Light?
Busch.
I
think
think
it-
it's still a little cheaper. I bought a Sixer recently, and it was cheaper.
The Sixers
Okay.
of PBR aren't bad. I get a Sixer of Tall Boys. They're
I'm gonna go
pretty
check. I'm gonna
affordable.
check that out next time.
Yeah,
at the
next
store,
time I go to the
because
store,
think,
I'll look
I
too.
think the price points have gotten closer together from the premium beers, the Buds, the Bud Lights, the Miller's Lights.
Are you
the
going to blame
Coors
Biden
Lights.
for this?
Of course.
Bidenflation?
No, actually, what I would blame is because it's so popular, people no longer. I don't think Busch Light always had that stigma of being the ultra cheap beer, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's never how I view it. I view that as that's my favorite cheap beer. And when I say that, I mean my favorite domestic.
Right. But I think it's gotten so popular that they realize people are no longer drinking this because it's the cheaper option.
It's because they like it.
They've now come to like it.
That's why I drink Busch Light. It's not because I think it's like, oh, is it quarter cheaper than Bud Light? Hell no.
Now, it may still be a little bit cheaper, but I don't think the gap between the two, like a 12 of Bud Light or Budweiser and a 12 of Busch Light, I think the gap has narrowed.
Interesting.
Those of you who price beers a lot more than I do, let me know, but I think they have.
Sam says Busch is still the CWS tailgate 30-pack to go because it's like $4 cheaper with 6 more beers. Katie says Nick can't be from Iowa, hating Busch Light and loving PBR. He's from Wisconsin now.
I don't hate Busch Light. I'll drink it if it's there, but I'm a PBR guy. I prefer PBR.
What do you think?
I grew up on Coors.
That was pretty close.
No.
No? Okay.
No, he wasn't too bad there.
I'd have to write an IOU because I forgot my bag of change.
Paul says, what's the worst Frost comment? You think he's better than what we've got? Or I hope the Big Ten adjusts to us.
Ooh.
And I would add in
because
or
the
other.
former is aging worse and worse and worse all the time as Joe Burrow continues to rack up more and more wins.
Yes.
And get more and more respect. Some people thinking he might even be the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and real quick before you answer, I will add, I should have known this week was going to be contentious from all sides because I thought sheepishly tweeted out on Sunday, did you guys know Joe Burrow wanted to play for Nebraska? And the vitriol that came to this. First of all, some people responded like, yeah. It's like, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the worst comment?
Man.
I know.
I've been doubted in this state before.
Oh, so he's adding in a third option. That was Chance, by the way, off mic.
I've been doubted in this state before.
Basically, anytime he bitched about the 97 UCF game.
That's a good one. But let's just go with the question because I think this is a tough one by itself, these two alone. But that's a good point, Chance.
Matt, by the way, adds dangerous in year 2.
Oh, dangerous in year 2. That is on my all-time personal favorite. But using those two.
You think he's better than what we got, or I hope the Big Ten adjusts to us? I mean, look, on one hand, I think it can obviously be the latter because look at his overall record. He sucked, blah, blah, blah. On the other, and look, I don't want to put too big of expectations on Joe Burrow. But, John, there is a very real world where he turns into a Hall of Famer. And Scott Frost was like, nah, I'd rather have...
What, after they win this weekend?
After they win this weekend. I mean, seriously, his career is on the trajectory, and let's see what happens. He is really good. He is, at the worst, he's like a top 4 quarterback in the league right now. And some would say he's top 2. Some would even say he's the best. If that's true, his trajectory is very, very high. So, like you said, the former could age even funnier because it's like, nah, we'd rather have Adrian Martinez than the guy who became a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, it's so rich.
There's still a part of me that says in the moment, because in the moment, Joe Burrow is not the Joe Burrow we know today.
Correct. He would have been fine.
He doesn't have the reputation. The reason why Joe Burrow was a thing was because he was a Nebraska legacy.
Mm-hmm. He didn't
I think
do
this
anything at Ohio
conversation is
State.
a lot different if Joe Burrow is not a Nebraska legacy. I don't even know if he gets brought up.
Well, yeah,
honestly,
he never would have wanted to come to Nebraska.
That was his main.
He wanted to come to Nebraska. That's
right.
the only reason that it could have been an option.
Now, you could also argue that Frost did say, we hope the Big Ten has to adjust to us. The key word, hope. We hope the Big Ten has to adjust to us, which in fairness is a conditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying the Big Ten will adjust to us. We hope that they have to adjust to us.
I made my decision. It's the first one because it's an objectively funnier line. You think he's better than what we got? Like, it's just,
because
imagine
it ages really bad.
Imagine the way he said it too. Cocky, probably.
Yeah, that's the other problem is we never actually heard it said. We heard the second one said.
Yeah,
but
and the way he said it too, like, I mean, he did have a little grin on his face when he finished, but you're right. He did say hope. The other one, it's just like the cockiest dude of all time. You think he's better than what we got? Like, it's very funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. I'm going to vote with you. I'm going to say, is he better than what we've got?
And yes,
because the answer is obviously, well, duh.
But yeah, one more qualifier. We do know if Burrow comes to Nebraska, he is not in this position right now. It is so great for his career that he didn't come to Nebraska. That said, it's still funny that we can bring it up.
I don't think Joe Burrow becomes the Joe Burrow we're seeing right now if he's at Nebraska. There's a part of me that thinks that Burrow would have seen what was going on here and would have left here after 1 year.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the portal wasn't what it is now. And so leaving again,
Well, either way, I don't think he would have. I don't think he wouldn't have turned into the Joe Burrow that he did now, because technically he didn't really turn into the Joe Burrow that he became
until last year
without Joe Brady, the quarterback's coach at LSU.
Yeah, I still remember after his first year and after Adrian's first year, because it was both the same. We were like, well, they made the right decision.
Yes.
And then it looked stupid.
Yes.
The next year when Burrow had the greatest quarterback season of all time. Matt says, contender for most accurate, dumbass stupid. That was funny. And he also adds the rock bottom quote. I mean, that is definitely not aged very well.
Now, rock bottom, that was
you were critical.
That was
of
a
it
me
right
thing.
away.
I mean, I'm the one that carried the banner on that for a long time, and some people just didn't like it because,
dumbass, stupid.
That was right.
Kelsey says, "What's the worst dessert?"
Well, I mean, like
category or specific?
A soda cracker.
No, like so you're like a restaurant and they have desserts and you see one, you're like, ugh, I don't want that.
Rhubarb pie is garbage.
You know what I don't like?
Oh, whoa.
I don't like rhubarb.
Oh, if you make it right.
Rhubarb isn't. People used rhubarb in the Depression because that's all they could afford.
It was a filler.
Which, that's fine. I get that. It's
Right.
a filler. The Depression was over, so we didn't have to keep doing that. And then they're like, oh, you mix it with strawberry. If it was good, you wouldn't have to mix it with strawberry, but you don't need the filler because we can afford strawberries now.
You know that
It doesn't need to exist.
You know that cocoa doesn't taste sweet. You have to add things to the cocoa to make it chocolate. You add things to the rhubarb to make it taste better.
But rhubarb isn't. Nobody likes rhubarb's bad. It's bad. It's
well,
just
by
bad.
itself, but if you mix it in the right way with the strawberry and the strawberry rhubarb, it's delicious.
I've never had a good strawberry rhubarb pie, and made by
you call yourself a farm kid. That's
by
farm
excellent
food, baby.
Made by excellent bakers, I might add.
Rusty
like my grandma.
Rusty says rhubarb is a base.
It is. It is.
You know what I don't like?
Yeah, by itself, it's terrible. Mayonnaise by itself, terrible. Mayonnaise on a sandwich is also terrible because it doesn't add anything. It adds calories. It adds nothing else.
And taste.
It doesn't add that.
Delicious flavor.
It adds
Consistency.
no flavor. It adds
Consistency.
slime and slipperiness, and it's like, just add some mustard, get some oil. And the thing that still triggers me is people who think they have to put mayonnaise on an Italian sub. You've got the juices. You've got the oil and the vinegar mix. You don't need the slime. Sorry, I just hijacked the conversation from rhubarb to slime.
Here's
But
my
it's been
answer.
a while since I had a slime reference.
I don't like tart things in like dessert form like that, like a key lime pie, lime or lemon stuff. Nah.
Ooh,
How you feel
key
about
lime.
tiramisu?
I know some people that love key lime pie.
What's tiramisu?
It's like a coffee pastry kind of thing. I don't know if I call it a pastry. It's like a coffee thing. It's good.
I'm sure it's great.
I like tiramisu.
They're pretty good.
You know how I feel about worm fruit. I'm out on all that crap too.
Well, tiramisu doesn't have.
I honestly, here's the thing. I rarely order dessert. It's way too expensive at a restaurant to like, give me that $8 slice of whatever. I'll just go home and have ice cream if I want a dessert.
Usually
I don't
if
have
the
a
restaurant,
sweet tooth like that.
If the restaurant's doing it right, you're not hungry for dessert.
Yeah, I rarely want
Yeah.
dessert.
We're going.
after I eat.
It sometimes annoys me if the waiter or waitress comes to the table, asks for dessert, and one of the kids or the wife wants
My
dessert.
wife!
And I'm
There it
looking,
is.
I'm like, there wasn't enough with the free breadsticks and the soup and the salad and the
Also,
entree
Olive
that you had,
Garden.
and the extra
with the
fries you had to
tiramisu
have
there
and
is
all
good,
that stuff.
though.
And you have to have the dessert.
Yeah, I'm good. By the way, a couple other Frost quotes. Amazing Daniel and Alex and Lincoln both on the same lines. Alex Lincoln says the Adrian injury quote. I forgot what he said exactly.
Oh, the
lupus.
The lupus.
That one. Yeah, and here's the
I don't want
quote.
to kick a turd here.
Ridiculous rumors. He probably had lupus and leprosy, smallpox, and all these other things. He's fine.
Oh. Yeah, that
Because his jaw was screwed up, as we all knew. Travis says, aren't you out on fruit on ice cream too? Yeah, absolutely not. No, thank you.
Fruit on ice cream is okay.
Give me some cookie dough or some Reese's.
man, you're missing out.
You're missing
You
out.
don't like bloobs
Well,
on
I
ice
like
cream?
the things you mentioned, but I'm saying you're missing out.
Ice cream
It's gotta be
bloobs
your
are
bowl.
good.
No. What? No, I don't want strawberry ice cream. That's not the flavor profile I want with my strawberries. The mouthfeel. Mouthfeel, that was said in our
What,
movie.
you don't like strawberry ice cream?
Absolutely not.
Strawberry flavored ice cream.
Nah. Not
Yeah,
for me.
I'm actually out on that too. It reminds me too much of strawberry milk.
I like see, and I don't like that either.
Strawberry
I want
milk is
I want it
gross.
to be more chocolatey type stuff. I don't want it to be like that. Though as a kid, I did used to eat ice cream with nerds in it, which is just
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, that's
Quite-
terrible.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do it
Now
anymore.
I
Nerds
know
are
why
bad.
you're broken. Well, that
Broken.
your parents obviously abused you.
Whoa.
Well, you didn't have mashed potatoes. You didn't like mashed potatoes.
That was
you
my
didn't
fault.
like
That was my
gravy,
fault.
You didn't
No,
have
no,
the
no.
cheeseburger.
Don't blame the coaches. In this scenario, blame the individuals. I am Quentin Newsom. I'm the failure here. By the way, I've had multiple now in this segment alone. I got an email and a text with as they're listening to the radio replays, very critical of one side of that conversation. I'm not going to say which side.
What conversation?
With Steve Sipple.
Hmm.
Yeah. Everyone should check out the radio replay. I think. I don't know. I have no idea if it's good radio.
I thought it was.
Yeah, you just sat there smiling the whole time, you goof.
Well, it's because I saw
You
both
did
points.
it. You kicked a hornet's nest that I didn't even know was there.
ask. Why
Here's
did
what
you?
John did.
Why do you
John-
think reset is
He's
a good
just
word?
asking questions,
John's
Josh.
walking in, whistling, and he sees some dirt and he kicks it. And then it's like, hey, a couple of
And then
bees
you,
are flying
and then
around.
You called it a
And then-
train wreck.
and then
you
he-
said Nebraska football was a train wreck.
He
and that-
scuffed it again. He's like, hey, a few more bees. And
I
then he
never
took out a
said
bat
train wreck.
and started hitting it.
I never said train
John's
wreck.
the real assassin.
Yeah.
Josh and
No.
Sip were just trying to get a nice sandwich at a sandwich shop, and you're like, hey.
Yeah, and they probably both ordered slime on it.
Alex and Lincoln wants to know, when are we trying the Runza ice cream?
Yeah.
Is that available yet?
It's available tomorrow.
I saw Aaron Sorensen got a.
Yeah, I saw that picture
got
too.
some. Yeah, we're not influencers like she
Apparently, we're not.
Well, we're not on TikTok. I'm not.
We don't worship the stupid royal family either.
Wow,
that was out of nowhere.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
R.I.P. Liz.
Who?
Liz. Queen
Elizabeth
Liz.
Taylor? Oh, I forgot her name.
Wow.
That's how relevant she was.
She was the queen for 52 years? 62 years?
I don't care.
Cool.
How long?
Dan.
Dan.
Text in, mayonnaise is good. John is wrong.
True.
Who?
Dan.
Dan. Shut up.
Nice.
Just kidding.
That was a good dumb debates.
Was a good dumb debates.
A little too much Cowboys talk for my liking, but you know, what can you do?
Well, I mean,
I wonder which Cowboys talk will make it into the best of dumb debates that
None.
I've been putting together.
I hope none.
Oh, can next year's
will it actually
best of
air, though,
crossover
Nick?
just be all the conversations we've had about the Cowboys?
I hope not.
Oh, that's an idea.
Will it
we've
actually
done
air,
enough
though?
already in the last 3 days to fill the year? I guess.
Oh, that'd be a fun montage. The beginning of last season, just every time Josh mentions the Cowboys.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That'd be like an audio
to
bell
relive
curve.
deranged Cowboy fan syndrome.
Be a roller coaster ride.
Where he was like, "We're gonna suck," and then all of a sudden, "Oh, we're great."
We can do it for this year because I don't want to dig back into all that audio.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Josh is, an instigator.
Instigator? You're the one kicking the hornet's nest. I was just hanging out, giving you my takes.
You did.
Did.
All right. We still have the bet of the day. We have some content and more on Unsportsmanlike Conduct in 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
There's no one in the history of sport who loves to hit you with a video of himself chopping wood at 4:30 in the morning more than Justin James Watt. And he wants you to know about it because you're lazy and he's the hardest worker in the room. I say, if we're going to be okay with putting mediocre players in the Hall of Fame, then sure, what better place to start than J.J. Watt? Wow.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, and cold into the evening with the temperatures only around 20. Becoming partly cloudy later tonight, we should drop back to around 10 for a low. And then partly cloudy skies on Thursday, still pretty chilly with high temperatures only in the mid and upper 20s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Time-Saving Traffic Center, heads up that crash on Ames Ave at 61st in cleanup stages, still causing delays. It looks like a crash with injuries on northbound 38th at Dodge is also slowing things down. Delays on westbound and eastbound I-80 between 84th and 60th. Slow going on northbound 72nd between F Street and Grover, and delays on Blair High Road for both directions between 90th and 103rd. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $908 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
In support of the Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, 1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. For details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Omaha Maverick baseball and softball season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a pitch or run scored. 2023 season tickets include in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS. That's 402-554-MAVS.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
We're pretty cool guys.
We are pretty cool guys.
Pretty cool guys.
On 1620 The Zone.
Well, tonight we've got Blue Jay basketball against St. John's. Weird times in the old Big East. You have DePaul literally went from beating the best team in the conference by record to losing to the worst team in Georgetown. By the way, we will have more on that coming up in content, including the I'll be curious to see what the reaction is, but the play-by-play call from Rich Schvatkin, who is the longtime voice of the Hoyas, how he called the win last night.
Okay.
Some people were very triggered by this.
No way.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll come up in Bet of the Day because a certain someone in this room might have had the team that was playing Georgetown.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What?
You know, some of us have a purpose for what we do.
That's true.
Some of us had a purpose. Oh, hey. Happy anniversary.
I just saw this too. I was going to say, don't you want to go back?
Nope. The dumbest
Back
logo.
to the Shack?
The dumbest
College
logo.
sports logos for the second time in recent weeks, right? Or what the other, what was the other? Yeah.
Yeah, the other there was
3 decades ago this year, these logos made their debuts. A few were still active until recent years. And one of them, well, 2 of them actually, are Nebraska.
Well, Little Red was born in 1993. And the Chicken Scratch Huskers was born in 1993.
I just do not understand why you hate that logo.
Because it's dumb and it's
unique.
It's just a word. It
I
just
don't
says
care if it's
Huskers.
unique. It'd been unique if they'd have had a cow's butthole as the logo. Doesn't mean it's good.
I mean, that would have been very unique. Hard to argue with that.
What if it was a cow pissing on a flat rock?
That would have also been very unique. I like the Nevada one too, by the way, and the Memphis one. I didn't realize a lot of these were 90s logos.
Where can I see these?
College sports logos.
Caleb Henry retweeted it, Nick, if you follow Caleb Henry.
Well, why don't you retweet it from the J-Tech Instruction Zone?
Okay, I'll Nick, I'm retweeting it from @USC1620,
Yeah.
so it should be on your.
Yeah, this is the anniversary of Chicken Scratch Huskers, the worst Husker logo of all time.
I don't understand it.
I don't like it.
It's great.
Didn't
It's
like
boring. It's kind of boring.
It's not boring. It's just
this is
It's kind of boring.
Look who you have on your
You know what it
side.
started?
Yeah, you have me.
Actually, you know what it started? And this has always been a thing that, and I'm still waiting, by the way, Trev, because Trev wanted to, one of the things he talked about last year was, hey, we want streamlined uniforms across all of our sports. We want a unique look across all of our sports. We haven't gotten that yet.
What's going on with the Auburn Bulldog?
The what?
Is that Auburn?
Where?
I don't know.
It's probably not Auburn, but who is?
I don't know.
Auburn is the Tigers, Nick, so it's definitely not.
Yeah, no,
the Auburn Bulldogs.
after I said it, I realized.
But the other thing about the Chicken Scratch Huskers
It's
is
a
it
beefy dog.
introduced the I guess they call it the Iron N.
Oh, the N. This version
Right.
of the N
Whereas the N on the helmet is
just
different.
a regular N. Yeah,
I've always thought they should be the same N.
I
don't care which one they choose, just pick one.
I liked when Solich became the head coach and how a lot of the gear that they had at that time was just the regular N again. Like his polos, if you look at like Frank, I thought that look was sweet. I like that N.
And I think
it's
that
a
N is
sharp-looking
better
N.
because it's more unique versus the Iron N is very close to Michigan. It's a different letter, but it's the same general design.
At least it's not as bad as the one from like a decade ago that looked like Mississippi State. Remember that N that said Huskers, like the Mississippi State?
Yeah,
look? That was the one that
I didn't like that either.
It looked like, and I say this with no ill will because I went there last night, it looked like a Walmart logo. It looked like Walmart.
It did, actually.
You
You're
know,
right.
like it's like you go to the store and it's like, ooh, they have Husker gear, but it's not really Husker gear.
Yeah.
It's off-brand Husker gear.
Also, I was told that the chicken scratch Huskers, that Steve Peterson had something to do with the design.
That's why you hate it.
No, I've never liked it, but then I really didn't like it when I found out he had something.
How much of me liking it is that's the first logo that I remember,
Well,
and they
probably that.
won.
Probably that.
You know, so I associate it with winning.
It'd be like
in the 90s.
It's like the Broncos uniforms. They won
I
their
hate those,
Super
though,
Bowls
now.
with those uniforms.
Yeah, they need to get rid of them.
And they need to get rid of them.
Go back to the Orange Crush with the light blue helmet. It's a great look. That says 90s. The 90s style is very much back in fashion. People like that
Folks.
era. I know you hate it, but I think it's cool. I think 90s gear is sweet.
I didn't say I hate it.
Well, that
I
Dolphins
just don't-
sweatshirt I have, that's kind of 90s-ish,
Mhm.
right? I like that a
I
lot.
just don't like that logo.
Very sad.
It's not that logo.
Mm.
Not a fan of that logo.
Tiny Herbie's freaking me out a little bit.
Out on Tiny Herbie?
Out on Tiny
Well,
Herbie.
that's Little Red. That's not
Sorry,
Tiny.
Little Red.
Mm.
In the family tree.
Tiny Herbie.
In the family tree, what
How
is
would
Little Red to
be
Tiny
received
Herbie?
today? And Little Red already is kind of polarizing with some people. So there are people that don't like Little Red.
People hate Little Red.
How much would Little Red
What's his face?
been disliked if his name would have been Tiny Herbie?
Tiny
Baby
Herbie's kind
boy,
of cool.
Tiny Herbie.
Tiny Herbie. Tiny
Actually, I
baby
think I
boy.
kind of want to call him Tiny Herbie now.
Can we
Hey.
get a triple B shirt that has Tiny Herbie?
That's
They'd have to pay
for
get
it.
new
Ah.
receivers coach Tiny Baby Boy to be the prototype for new Tiny Herbie?
I like this idea because we're going to get new Herbie this year too. See, that's when they're going to do the redesign. It'll be after this season. It'll be before next.
I still think New Herbie's going to have a podcast with a fade. He invests in crypto.
Definitely not. He needs to go back to being a farmer.
This program has been bankrupt enough. The last thing they need is to invest in crypto.
Good point. Needs to be a farmer. You know, a few
Damn
pounds.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I need that. That's what we need. Maybe
Bring
the
back
overalls are a
MAGA
little,
Herbie.
maybe the overalls are a little darker. The jeans a little darker on the jean now. But yeah, maybe he's wearing a hoodie.
Oh, Hoodie Herbie.
You think Herbie wears hoods? Not that type of hood. Hooded sweatshirts, guys. Realized what I said immediately.
Coming up,
Adam says, "Tiny baby Herbie boy."
Tiny baby Herbie boy.
It's time for dumb debates, including
No content. We
Or
already did
content,
dumb debates.
content.
This
I'm
whole
sorry,
show's
content.
been a dumb debate.
content.
What do we have?
Including Zach Taylor is not the only ex-Husker head coach who is making headlines this week. And this person deserves your respect.
Also, for some reason, we keep talking about LeBron James. Every day we talk about LeBron James. Who are we? Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp?
And once
that
again,
funny?
Josh's NBA hate comes through.
No. I like the NBA now, and I'll explain when we return.
Join 1620 The Zone for our 4th annual Pink Out Game broadcast. It's going to be at the Hope Lodge just down the street at 80th and Farnham, just off of Dodge, down the hill from Children's Hospital. We're doing our paper drive, toilet paper, other paper products, gift cards to either restaurants or shops or stores, all for the patients and their loved ones who are able to stay long-term at the Hope Lodge while their loved one gets life-saving cancer treatments. And if you can't be there in person this Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., please consider a donation online. Visit cancer.org/pinkout. That's cancer.org/pinkout.
If you love attending live events, whether it's a big-time sporting event or seeing your favorite artist in concert, then you need to check out my friends at Tickets for Less and their app. It's absolutely free. It brings all of your favorite things about ticketsforless.com straight to your fingertips in one convenient location. Plus, all new users get a special discount code sent directly to your phone just for downloading the app and signing up. So simply search Tickets for Less in your app store, download the free app, and sign up for your discount. It's really that easy. Ticketsforless.com.
It's the lowest month-to-month rate of the year with no contract and no enrollment fees at Genesis Health Clubs. It won't get any lower than this, and enrollment fees are waived to celebrate 2023. Hurry, just 6 days left. Hi, I'm Rodney Steven. It's the new year, and you've set your New Year's resolutions, right? Well, it's time to go. I have good news and bad news for you. The bad news is, if you don't get started, your New Year's resolutions won't happen, and you'll be in the same place next year. You have to take that first step and build habits that will change your life forever. One of
of my favorite quotes is, "If it is to be, it is up to me." And that is absolutely true. And we know you can do it. We'll help you every step of the way. We help hundreds of thousands of people reach their fitness goals each year. And what about you this year? Join Genesis Health Clubs for our lowest month-to-month rate that we'll offer in all of 2023. Plus, no enrollment fees and no contracts. 6 days left. It will not get any better than this. Join at GenesisHealthClubs.com now because this special won't last. Hurry, just 6 days left.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. Like so many other college athletes, Creighton guard Rachel Saunders had a choice. She could use her extra COVID year or decide to leave. Her choice was to stay.
The biggest factor for me was I do love my teammates. I wasn't ready to not be with them every day. I didn't want to look back and say I wish I would have stayed. It felt like the right decision for me, and I was able to continue my academics and stay here on campus. So it really was a win-win.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-730-4293, 800-730-4293. Free bottles for limited time. Call now, 800-730-4293, 800-730-4293.
Everyone knows time is money, so don't wait weeks for the IRS to send out your tax refund. Go to Jackson Hewitt instead for up to $3,500 with a no interest, no fee tax refund advance loan. With up to $3,500, you could bring home the bacon and bring it home today. Money now instead of later? That's worth its weight in gold. Don't wait weeks for your refund. Go to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Mark your calendars for the 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health. The Blue Jays square off against Xavier at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. The first 16,000 fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative Creighton versus Cancer t-shirt with exclusive Pinkout posters distributed upon exit. Limited tickets remain online at gocreighton.com/tickets. The 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, proudly sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Look, I made you some
Unsportsmanlike
content.
Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike.
All right. Time for some content.
Nebraska's back. On the court tonight, a day later than scheduled as they take on Northwestern. We asked it earlier of Steve Sipple after Josh was done berating him.
Didn't ask it as
and
if
being
this was
so mean to him.
I never got to ask him if this was a must-win.
Sorry, I was too busy being distracted by you just being so mean to Sipple.
Yeah,
I realized towards the end of that interview, dang it, I'm not going to get to ask him about Nebraska's game tonight.
Our sweet baby boy.
I'm sure you were brokenhearted.
Yeah, it is a must-win. I'll tell you if they do next segment.
I mean, I hate to put must-wins on anything. But what must-win in terms of what?
Salvaging the season at all.
What is salvaging the season? I mean, I guess in terms of a winnable game, you always wonder about a team coming off of COVID, back to full health. You wonder where Nebraska is. They're obviously going to be shorthanded tonight. It's going to be the first full game without either Gary or Bandamel in the lineup. I won't call it a must win, and I will say they do not win because I'm not picking them in bet of the day.
Okay.
Georgetown finally won last night, and in case you didn't hear that right.
Oh, please say I did load it. Thank God. Here it is.
That 81-76 out of the back court, putting up a jumper off the back of the rim, no good. Zion Cruz. Hoyas win it. Hoyas win. 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 Georgetown finally gets off the schneid after losing 9 straight conference ball games. Georgetown has their first conference victory of the season to go to 1-9. Congratulations to Patrick Ewing as they beat DePaul tonight.
After the game, the team posed with a Hoyas win themed championship belt held by Patrick Ewing himself. A little over the top for a team that had lost a Big East record 29 straight times.
Okay, real quick. Was that the TV broadcast or was that the radio broadcast?
No, that's Rich Schwatkin, who is the voice of the Hoyas on the radio.
Okay, so at first that's what I thought we were going to hear. And then I was like, oh, wow, is the DePaul radio guy trolling?
No. This was the Georgetown. This is the voice of Georgetown.
Is he trolling? That was a lot.
No, actually, he does this a lot.
Because he said it 29 times, right? Is that what he did?
No, he actually said it 23 times. I was thinking the same thing you were.
So I was like, oh, he's doing it.
Someone counted it. No, he's not doing one for every consecutive loss. He just did 23, which, by the way, apparently there's someone that keeps track of this as a personal all-time record. But you combine that with the fact that they're posing with a mock championship belt. It's a I don't know what the belt says, but it does have a Georgetown Hoya
Jed
dog
loves
on
us.
It. I mean, yes, you should be happy that the streak is over. I don't know if it's that big a celebration.
Yeah,
it?
That's weird. Like, I'm not going to make fun of players because I would never do that. It's coaches that I make fun of.
Yeah.
I've never make fun of players for being really happy. Ewing, I mean, look, this is why he's not a good coach, among other reasons, too.
Yeah,
I seriously thought the announcer was trolling. I was like, wow, this guy must hate his team that he calls.
Hoyas win.
No.
Yeah, that's not great. At first, I thought he was stealing your bit. Jays win.
Well,
Jays
that's only
win.
3.
I know you only do it 3 times.
And I do it for
He
Harry
did it 3
Carey.
times
Tonight-
times 7.
Tonight, can you do it 23 times?
Plus 2.
No, I'm not doing no.
All right.
No. You get 3.
Ah!
Hopefully tonight you get 3.
Kids come to UConn because they want to play for a coach who fights for them and that coaches as hard as they play. You need a coach like me at UConn, somebody that is a little edgy, that is overly passionate and tough. That's Huskies coach Dan Hurley. Is that an acceptable throwback?
I mean, it's a throwback to the idea that he's very intense.
What's this about? What happened?
Well, he was just, that's a quote from Dan Hurley.
Okay.
He was quoting.
That's my quote, boys.
Hurley is noted for his intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a little over the top, like when he incites fans to cheer after he gets thrown out of a game or gets a technical foul inside of the last 2 minutes and essentially costs his team a chance at a win. Listen, I like people like this. I've not heard any accounts of Dan Hurley abusing players or being anything like that. So absolutely, give me all the personalities. Give me people like him are easy to hate. But if he's on your side, he's easy to love. I like those kind of people.
Yeah.
They're good for the sport.
Absolutely. Push people hard, just don't cross the line. I think that's what it's all about.
You are getting older.
I've always felt this way. Push people hard. I just don't like people that are jerks for the sake of being jerks.
And there's some people that do think Hurley is that.
Yeah, I just think he's a tool more than a jerk. He just seems like a magoosh.
Is he a tool or is he a magoosh?
Or a jerk.
Or a jerk.
Now we're defining things again.
Semantics.
Mm-hmm.
According to Adam Schefter, the Colts plan to conduct a second round of interviews with 7 head coaching candidates, including Josh's favorite, Jeff Saturday. There's no chance he gets the gig, right?
Put it on the list. Jeff Saturday will not be their next head coach. This is a token interview.
Why is he still getting a token interview?
I don't know, because his owner's a weirdo too. I don't know.
You don't owe him anything.
Yeah,
and
he's not going to get hired.
I don't think he feels like he is owed anything. He literally took the job on the fly.
I don't think he's going
to The big question is, why is a lot of people are wondering, Lou Anarumo, I can't even say his name right, but the defensive coordinator of the Bengals.
Anaroma.
Anaroma.
No, Anaruma.
and Aruma. Either way, man's getting no attention whatsoever.
Anarumo. Lou Anarumo.
No attention,
Anarumo.
no interviews, no nothing. Why?
Gotta be your bull.
Yeah, good question. Good question. That dude's putting together great defensive game plans in the last 2 playoffs and regular seasons. It's going to be another tough one for the Chiefs on Sunday. Yeah. Remember last year it was like, oh, all they did rush 3, drop 8, rush 3, drop 8. Then when they played them in December, they only did that 5 times. The guy's a really good coach. Good question, Sean.
Folks, we're going gaga over LeBron scoring 46 against the Clippers as he completed the sweep of having a 40-point game versus every NBA team in his career. But the Lakers lost to the Clippers by 18, giving Tyronn Lue a perfect 10 out of 10-0 record versus former team as a head coach. No coach in history has started 10-0 in his career versus the storied Lakers. So who really should be celebrating? Basketball.
We should be celebrating Ty Lue.
Are we not celebrating him?
No, all the attention's on LeBron. Oh, he's going to break some big record. Who cares?
When did you become such a big NBA head?
Me? I'm looking out for Ty Lue, former Husker Ty Lue.
Mm-hmm.
All his life.
Yeah, good on him. Good on him for winning his 10th game. In
no
10
other
tries.
coach in the history of the league has beaten the Lakers in his first 10 tries. And it's kind of interesting when you consider he used to be with the Lakers. He used to coach LeBron. Some people thought maybe LeBron kind of pushed him out because
in Cleveland,
LeBron is, his own player coach. So as a salute, I created this beautiful Photoshop. There's Ty Lue stepping over LeBron James. No, that's LeBron James. Sorry.
Oh, I thought, but he was stepping over Ty Lue.
No,
but it's Ty Lue.
No, it's LeBron James.
Oh.
See, it's his head.
Oh, I see. It's a very realistic
Good on you,
Photoshop.
Ty Lue.
Good on you.
I mean,
I like that uniform. Ty Lue 10-0.
All the appropriate love going out to Zach Taylor this week, but let's save a little love. Let's save a sliver of love for Ty Lue. 10-0 against the lowly Lakers. Good on you, Ty.
Joe Namath says he'll allow the Jets to unretire his number 12 if it means they can get Aaron Rodgers. Whoa. Thoughts?
Now, this would be a good move for the Jets to make. Why? Because the Jets have bad quarterbacks, John. He would be an upgrade, a definitive upgrade over their quarterbacks. Also, Joe Namath, overrated. We all know it.
Oh, good Lord.
Why are you...
More like Joe Samath.
More like Joe Samath. I don't know what that means. Give us a damn quarter, Nick. Why are you mad that I said that Joe Namath is overrated? He is.
You don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Of course not. His numbers are garbage.
His numbers are garbage compared to today's quarterbacks who have all the advantages.
And his numbers are garbage compared to 90s quarterbacks and 80s quarterbacks.
He didn't play in the 90s and the 80s. He played in the 60s.
That's what I'm saying.
And the 70s. He had great numbers in the 60s and 70s. And, yeah.
I think Johnny Unitas had better numbers than he did.
Well, he probably did, and Johnny Unitas is in the Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah, because
you can have guys in the Hall of Fame who have better numbers than
Johnny Unitas is not overrated, unlike Joe Namath. Johnny Unitas had more touchdowns and interceptions in his career.
Well, he also played longer than Joe Namath.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Joe Namath engineered the most famous win in NFL history.
I don't care about no win.
Of course you don't, because you're a Cowboys fan.
Damn it. That was rude.
Boom!
Wow.
Josh.
I double dog dare you to say this was a good show now.
Josh.
I'm going to say it still. What, Nick?
You're a Cox boy now.
Ooh.
Big fan of the Cox.
Hey, yeah.
What does that mean for your Tuesday night?
I had the NBA on because I have TNT now. TNT Tuesdays. Promo code 1620.
What?
It's on the FanDuel Sportsbook, Nick. What do you come on now, bro. It was nice. Nice having the cable. Nice.
Did you watch a little Oprah Network?
No. What? No.
The Dr. Phil Network.
Hallmark movies.
Also, we have all the movie channels now.
Oh, Skinamax. You watch
we do have Skinamax.
You watch some Skinamax?
I don't think they do that anymore. Because she was looking at what was on, and it didn't look like...
she was looking at...
What was that space movie that they had back in the 90s?
I've seen that one.
Yeah, Chance, you know the name of it. Someone in space.
Wow.
Cinemax space movie. It had a...
So nude people in space.
Yeah, Emmanuel in space.
Yup. There it is.
Not that I know what that is. But no, I don't think they do that anymore. But we do have that channel. We have HBO, which we already had a login for that. We have Stars now. And Showtime.
Is the movie channel still a thing? Is there still a movie channel?
I don't know.
It used to be back in the day, it was just the movie channel and HBO. That was it.
I like the remote. The new Cox remote's way better than this hunk of garbage.
Yeah, I don't like those.
You can talk to it, which is pretty cool. We were like, the menu. And then we watched the menu.
And then it got confused and put up the TV guide.
Look at Josh going back into time.
Look, and yeah, people are like, you're an old now. No, we are trying to save money is what we are trying to do. That's why we have the Cox, because it saves us money. It's cheaper. It's cheaper than the streaming services. It's nuts.
Josh says the Cox saving him money.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Cox.
Indeed.
I don't have the Cox.
Did you stay up?
I have the app.
Did you stay up all night playing with the new Cox to try to get a feel for it?
Nick, that's inappropriate.
We have cable.
We have kids in the car right now.
Your cable, Josh.
We have children in the car. Can
Josh,
you believe
stop
this?
taking things the wrong way.
No, he wasn't being defensive.
Yeah, well, he will be soon enough, I'm sure. I promise. Next segment, I'm going to say we had a good show. Even with the Cowboys slander, it was a good show.
Even. All right. We will come back. It's the bet of the day.
Yep.
And we'll count you down to Blue Jay shoot around with new host tonight. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Oh!
Because Robbie's with me.
Nice.
Creighton basketball coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. I imagine there are a lot of people out there with really bad roofs waiting for the magic moment. When's the magic moment?
Depends on what type of roof you have. It depends on how old your roof is. I have a customer right now talking about waiting for that hailstorm. Now it's leaking. There's a time where you can't wait for that hailstorm forever.
When it comes time to replace your roof, your gutters, and siding, there's only one call to make. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash. Listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
This is a sale so big that Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now, and for a very limited time, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Carrier, turn to the experts. On qualifying equipment, for details, call or click.
Tonight, the Blue Jays are back at home to take on the St. John's Red Storm. Pre-game coverage begins with Blue Jay shoot-around and Ravi Lula at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 8. The Blue Jays tonight on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
Hi, it's Nick Hanley for Woodhouse Mazda. Start the new year off right in a Mazda CX-5 from Woodhouse Mazda or Woodhouse Place Mazda, the Metro's exclusive Mazda dealers. It's what I drive and I love mine. They have inventory available on the lot and arriving daily. The suite of safety features includes blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and adaptive front lighting system. So as you turn a corner, the LED lights pivot in the direction you're turning. Shop online at WoodhousePlaceMazda.com or WoodhouseMazda.com. A drive worth experiencing.
Are you looking for tickets for the next big event? Be sure to check out my friends at TicketsForLess.com. They're going to take care of you, all of the best seats to the biggest local events, and they've also got great seats to events nationwide. Now, the one thing with TicketsForLess.com that I love is they never charge per ticket fees. And you know what? With that, you can save hundreds of dollars over other resale websites. You can lock in a special discount right now when you use the special code THEZONE at checkout at TicketsForLess.com. Simply enter the code THEZONE at checkout, and you're going to earn an exclusive listener discount. Memories for life start at TicketsForLess.com.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
It kind of jacks me up.
On 1620, The Zone.
You know why I'm laughing, don't you?
Now, it's time for the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Bet of the Day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
All right, on Tuesday, well, John, we just talked about Georgetown. They ruined your bet of the day. They finally get a win over
There was some strategery behind that, by the way, so I actually won.
Okay, nice job by you. I had the Celtics plus 2.5. They lost by 3, those absolute jerks. And Nick had the Penguins, who won in overtime. He had them minus 170. It was almost a disaster for
The luck is
young
incredible
Nick.
now.
Yeah, he is
I mean,
now
how
9
he's
and
completely
6.
turned his year around. Well, not turned his year around. We literally restarted a new year.
Yeah, that's true.
He's gone from being the absolute worst to now on a very respectable run.
9 and 6, up $636. Congrats to you, young Nick. I'm going to go with the game that's just about to start. Give me Northwestern minus the 2.5 versus Nebraska, which means Nebraska will win because I cannot pick any of their games correctly, whether I pick them to win or lose. Give me Northwestern. The juice is minus 1.
The first place Xavier Musketeers are a 6.5-point dog at Connecticut. Give me Xavier plus 6.5 at minus 110 to cover against UConn.
I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Going to keep the winning streak alive. The Pacers suck. Give me the Magic. Minus 215.
That's the bet of the day.
Iowa.
Continue to vote in our poll question, by the way, of which word best describes Nebraska's rebuild, reload, reset, reject. Remodel. Ricola. Losing I can't think of any other words. Remax. Maybe they're going to sell. Review. Respect. Whatever word you choose, please vote in our poll. We'll have it up for another day. Nice spirited conversation today.
It was great.
It was
I had a great time
fantastic.
today. It was a great show.
It was a great show.
I
It was
love
a
working with
fantastic
you
show.
two. You know, I look back at the end of every show at a time like this. I look back and say, I am happy to have this job.
And now I go home. Well, I go
No,
to
you're
the
not
game.
going home yet.
I go to the game, then I go home and knock on wood, all you sick bastards don't get me sick.
Hey, what are you blaming me for?
Yeah.
I'm blaming you.
Look at Nick. You can't say yeah, Nick.
Why me?
Mr. Mr. Mask, because you got sick, and then everyone else in the building is sick.
Yes.
What the hell did you people do during the holiday Christmas party? The holiday party
We
last
bowled. I don't know. We just
You
talked.
bowled.
We
Is that a euphemism for something else?
Maybe it is, John. Maybe
Y'all
it is.
swapping bodily fluids or something?
2023, John. You got to get with the times. Get with the times.
You get with the times, you get sick.
Yeah, I guess so.
You miss work.
Props to you. You left, and you're healthy.
I didn't leave. I didn't go.
That's true. I'm fine, too, by the way. I feel
Yeah,
great.
Josh is okay.
Yeah,
So
feel great.
Josh has the antibodies.
I've been fighting a cold for 2 weeks, so I think it's just that.
Yeah.
Awesome, Nick. Awesome.
All right, stand by because the Natalie attired Robbie Lula joins me in a few.
Yeah, you got Jimmy Allen coming up next.
Jimmy's doing the pregame today because Robbie's joining me courtside for Creighton and St. John's 8 o'clock tip. Pregame coverage with Jimmy and Alex starts next right here on 1620 The Zone.
Bye.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, looks like a crash with injuries on southbound 108 at Mockingbird is still causing some delays. If you're west on Dodge, expect stop-and-go traffic between 129th and 144th. Also, stop-and-go traffic on southbound Blair High Road between State Street and 90th. And then it looks like if you're west on I-80, you can expect delays between L Street and Giles. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
Thank you, Omaha. It's triple first-place wins for Fernando's. Fernando's is honored and grateful to you for voting them the best Mexican restaurant in the Best of Omaha and Omaha Choice Awards and Best Margarita in the Omaha Choice Awards. Fernando's, family-owned and community served.
When cancer hits home, when you need answers and hope, turn to Nebraska Medicine, where cancer care is world-leading and personal. In one visit, you'll meet with the team specializing in your cancer, discover treatments based on your DNA, and the support